Yeah, I know. Like last episode, I got demonetized, so I'm like, oh man, it was like 4K views or something like that. It was pretty good, but so you better give deep this time. But anyways, yeah. So there's the Compact Mac War. That was really weird. Um,
You love to see it. The first thing you do when you go to
what do
your
you?
favorite twitter.com, x.com, heaven and or hell site, and you realize, huh, it's the same stuff on a different day. We're all just like various packs of monkeys in the New York City Zoo, and we've all got this rather infinite supply of resources that when we eat these resources, we now have a ready able weapon to throw at people. And all of a
Zine
sudden,
packs, right? Zine packs.
well, yeah, sure, I was thinking feces and that we can just
Oh,
fling at each other like the monkeys that we are, but
oh, I thought you
that's
meant like
okay.
consuming resources and going crazy. That's yeah.
Oh, no, no. I mean, we can chimp out too. That's okay. Everyone can have a little chimp out as a treat. But I mean, I just refer to the fact that I think there's like a progressive YouTuber or someone called like Turd Flinging Monkey. Like this is like old hat stuff. But like, I just think to
No,
myself,
he's
what
a
a great
MGTOW. He's a MGTOW.
is a MGTOW guy even
Yeah.
better. Like, what a good guy. Then what a great name. Because I just think to myself, that's the internet. That's twitter.com. We're all turd flinging monkeys on twitter.com. I love it. I love it. It's great.
Oh man, that I feel bad though. Like I like Jeffrey Schellenberger. He did me a solid, and I think he's a great. I mean, I don't know why. Like they, I guess like, see, this is a problem. Like you one faction that has you marked, and that's it. And I mean, was it plagiarism? I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you would have, I don't know, what is plagiarism? Because like we see like bigger people that take takes and ideas from us all the time. It's just that.
I think the key difference in this instance is that and I said this in the video I put out today, that Twitter and the sort of ecosystem is a clout-based PvP server
Hmm.
of your favorite sort of, like early access survival horror game, right? This is all DayZ, and you have to join a clan or a guild or a group in order to survive. And if you see
Yeah.
X group talking about thing that came from Y clan, then you have to go all out and attack. And I mean, I I'm not a big guy in terms of account size or views or novel ideas that have been
Yeah.
reiterated out into the world. So if I say something that gets picked up by people, I'm very happy with that because it means, hey, I put something out into the ether, and that's the way. I'm also a wagey, so it's like this isn't my like life and my stakes of living. But if I were someone like say Fisted by Foucault, Niccolo, right, who I think this is his job now, I'd be a little more defensive and a little more eager to get
Oh
my
yeah, sure.
hand underneath towards my rear end to get ready to fling said feces over the fence and defend myself and my work and my clout and my ideas. Um, and I mean that's sort of the unfortunate nature of this is that it's all amorphous, it's all semi-permeable, and ideas can't be gate kept lest you physically remove, as Hans Hermann Hoppe might say, the people who ascribe to the ideas, and even then, that doesn't tend to work, especially in a religious nature. But uh, that's life. That's the social media stuff. I've done all my like serious hat thinking, effort posting for the videos and the streams I've done. I'm looking forward to Friday when I get to talk about Robert E. Lee with Apostolic Majesty. And I'm looking forward to breaking my fast and having turkey tomorrow. How are you, Gio?
I'm better. Sorry,
You
I'm just
alive?
yeah, I'm alive. It only took a week to recover, but breaking news, I just got distracted. My mother's texting me. Apparently there's been some explosion on the Rainbow Bridge. Uh
Yeah, there was an explosion by Niagara Falls.
wow, that's crazy. I've so man, but anyways, hopefully
Rainbow
it's
Bridge car
nothing.
explosion on the US-Canada border was attempted terrorist attack.
But did they confirm it was that or was it just like a car that malfunctioned?
I don't know.
Man, that's insane. Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully this,
The damage looks pretty bad.
really? I gotta look this up.
Here, I'll send it to you in the private chat.
Yeah,
You can put it
yeah.
up here.
That's
Also, like
crazy. I was because I
yeah,
was
go
like
ahead.
working out today. I didn't really like see this, but
Well, this happened only like
Holy crap!
this only
Oh
happened
my
like earlier today.
god! That's crazy. Look at this. Wow.
You gonna put it up or
Oh yeah. Let me put it up.
yeah?
I don't know if can we legally put this up on
It's
YouTube
on
though?
the news, man. This is from like Fox.
Page. So this is from Raw Story, and let's go to screen share. But no, yeah. So I had the Chinese delicacy again, and you know, no, I don't know why the screen share is not allowing me to participate, but I hate that. I hate when they wait. Let me see if this works now. But anyway, so yeah, I was out for a week. It wasn't too bad. Like the muscle pain, it was annoying, and other than that, like my God, I can't believe it. I have a whole window and it's like not letting me do it. I hate when it does that. Like the screen share doesn't like because I have like way too many tabs right on my one feed. So oh my God, but we'll see if we can get it. But anyways, yeah. So I had the clown vid, and I'm good now. And my nose is still kind of stuffy, but other than that, like I'm pretty good. Um, here we go. Thank God. So this is the article we're gonna read, but who knows if we're gonna get to that. Um, wow, look at that. That's a rainbow bridge. I take the. I shouldn't say which bridge I take. That's kind of doxy, but like, yeah, that's crazy. I've crossed this many a times. This rainbow bridge.
Mm.
Um, that's incredible. Because okay, like maybe yeah, okay. What if a car malfunctioned? But this is like clearly like they're going for the building. So that's.
Well,
I hope
this is
nobody's hurt.
and apparently CBS Evening News. This was yesterday on the 21st. The NYPD says there are growing concerns about security with escalating violence in Gaza. CBS News has learned about heightened threats of a possible terrorist attack on the United States, with New York State being a focus. The alert says
Yeah.
possible targets include protests and other public events. Well,
Half the
man.
evidence claiming it's from travel from U.S. to Canada. That's not from U.S. That doesn't look like. Maybe it could be. Um, by officials, it was wow. Oh my God. Was everyone? What a stupid joke. Um, wow, that's insane. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. That's crazy. I hope it doesn't have the whole like post 9/11 thing of like now we gotta like but man, that's crazy.
Well, you need to get the people rallied up for the latest bout in the Middle East. I think about the last 30 years, right, of like our lifetimes, and it's just like America's always been involved there somehow.
Yeah.
I got to get people excited for current thing, for
You were
current
on Night
war.
Owls talking about this.
Yeah, we were. That
I
was
was still
fun.
listening. You decided
I never thought that I'd end up being able to speak there. That was
maybe I
fun.
should do it this Thanksgiving. I don't know. But then
Oh yeah, they're having a Thanksgiving Night Owls, and if you show up, we know who truly isn't going to make it.
my excuse is I'm Canadian.
That's fair. You guys have a different Thanksgiving day.
Yeah, so no, I wasn't gonna cross this week, but like beginning of December I wanted to go to the States, but I hope man, that's crazy. But yeah, so happy Thanksgiving anyways, I know this is bad news, but for all the Americans, happy Thanksgiving. Um Buffalo News said it came from Canada. So, interesting. We'll see what happens. I mean, let's face it, the obvious explanation is probably something to do with what's happening in the Middle East. That's pretty, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, I mean
you
that's
never
that
know.
sounds the most obvious, right? Like something has been going on halfway around the world, and because we play the whole, invade the world, invite the world scenario, this is what was inevitably going to happen. And yeah, it was an
Yeah.
absolute it's inevitability is all I can really say.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll happen in Europe more so as well. As did you see that they leaked I was watching this GDF video that they actually leaked plans or rather the Israelis they're like it's a suggestion guys. It's just like
A
it's a
suggestion.
it's a
Okay.
thought experiment where he's like let's just take like all 2 million of them and like put them in America and in Europe. if we
And it
can't
does
like
make
put them
you
in
wonder.
Sinai.
It makes you wonder who that's for, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Because, like, sure, Morgoth's law applies to all these things. That in any sort of
100%.
conflict that happens in like Africa or the Middle East or around the world, it means more military-aged fighting men of that age will be flooding Europe's streets. And so, 2 million, Gazans. I mean, is this for the Israelis that feel squeamish about genocide, or is this the type of, I don't know, just to let everyone in the West know, hey, this is what's coming?
Well, there was a take that our good friend Remnant Posting had, which is like edgy and probably not appropriate, but he's like, if like if you're so uncomfortable, like you don't have the balls to like, you know, blank them in front of God and everybody, that you want to like offload your problems to Europeans and Americans, then like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's yeah, like let's not be like, at the same time, like I was talking about this with Kathrine, our latest episode, it came up the whole thing in the Middle East. It's like, yeah, let's not lie. Let's not lie about it. Like, Hamas and all those other organizations probably want to redact them as well. Let's not, I mean, come on. They're not wholesome Chungus freedom fighters. But at the same time, I mean, come on. This is like, well, I don't know. Like, is there anything new happening there? Or is it just the same old? Are they still bombing them? What's been happening?
Well, that hasn't changed, right? I have not kept up with the latest news. I know that everyone had the video of Joe Biden at the turkey pardon, apparently like running into the White House. Everyone was joking that he had shit himself, but
Oh,
I
man.
he had said to reporters prior to that he says that some sort of deal about hostages was going to come out very soon, and so I think that there has been a hostage deal that had
Yeah,
came
they're
out.
exchanging them.
That
Yeah.
they're approving a deal for hostages in exchange for a pause in fighting in Gaza, which is to begin tomorrow morning. An Israeli official told CNN Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister, will hold a news conference later today. The agreement would see the release of 50 hostages, women and children, in exchange for a 4-day truce in Israel's air and ground campaign, according to a government statement. And it held out the potential for an extension, saying that an extra day would be added for each additional 10 hostages available for release. 150 Palestinian prisoners will be released from Israeli jails as part of the agreement. Israel has also released a list of 300 Palestinian prisoners who would ultimately be part of a wider agreement to release hostages held in Gaza. The head of UNICEF called the Gaza Strip the most dangerous place in the world right now to be a child, saying over 100 children have died per day for weeks. And then CNN has a humanitarian efforts link for Gaza.
Well, what happens when Hamas gives up all the hostages? They just go back to bombing hospitals, and is that how it works? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is the impossible
Well,
situation.
we've seen this before, right?
No, no,
Like,
yeah, yeah. This is what happens. This is what happens. This happened in 2014. You say that there's a truce to exchange hostages, or there's a humanitarian corridor, then somehow some stray tow missile goes into a building, and the truce is off. But anyways, what were you gonna say, Prude? Sorry, I was.
well, yeah, that was basically that. The hostages are gone or the issue is resolved, and then you wait maybe a couple of weeks or a couple of months when the heat is off of you and the attention is on some other part of the world, and then yeah, oh, the occasional tunnel collapse or bomb goes off, and then we're
Yeah,
back to our usual cold civil war slash ethnic cleansing.
yeah. Well, is it true, or is it just like propaganda that I think GDF was saying this? Like, they have this law where the Israelis, like, they more than likely can't accept hostages, or it's like some weird thing where they view hostages as a suspect if they're not trying to like get back to Israel or something like that. There's some kind of law that they have there. Um, but then again, who knows, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I really don't
yeah.
have the fullest extent of this info, so I'm not really going to comment on it too much.
Well, there has been talk about passing new laws in the Knesset about different aspects of this conflict, but um, I know that in Ukrainian news that they wanted to pass a law to draft 17 to 70-year-olds. So, I mean, that's it. That's going to be interesting too, because as the Russians advance in, what area is it? Lysychansk, or is it somewhere else? like that is another thing too, is like we have to consider like what's going to happen, next year if the war keeps happening in Ukraine, right? Like, so, which it probably will. I mean, let's face it, if there's a huge winter freeze, then you know you never know what's going to happen. um but yeah, but this whole thing, like, I don't know, it's at some point it's like, what's even the point of talking about it, because hugely incompetent people are running the show either way, or evil people are running the show either way. And so I don't know. Do you have any more takes on the current situation in Israel, Prude? Or
No, I don't know how much there's going to be in respects to uh, any of this. No, I don't. I mean, the USG has tried their best to temper the Israelis on this issue, and
yeah,
again, the PR war is not looking great. And then, of course, did everyone see? And I'm sure you saw it, Gio, the video of the guy constantly harassing a halal stand in New York.
yes, he worked the
And
Obama
he's a part
administration.
of the Obama White House, like, foreign policy, State Department, and, of course, it's a gentleman of Jewish background, just, mocking this halal stand guy in New York about, how many Palestinians have died and how much more needs to be done.
That's
Blatantly
barbaric,
just
man.
barbaric, tight, just, teasing this man, and that's not even teasing, it's just straight up terrorism of the man's senses and soul, knowing that, it would look bad if he were to, like, retaliate, and he's
Oh, of
also a
course.
White House guy. So it's awful, but yeah, the PR war doesn't look good for Israel. But I think it's because the social media that we have is way different than 2014 or even 2006 or any of the previous wars or intifada's. That if you slightly if you make any platform Janny free,
Yeah,
it inevitably becomes right wing, and inevitably leads to the, I guess, like, regression to the mean, right? Like, we all regress back to, like, grug-brained takes, like, Grog doesn't like Long Nose Tribe. Grog doesn't like, pictures of, like, Grob with Dark Grog Tribe. Like, this is bad. And so Grug posting becomes popular again, right? And I don't mean the literal meme format. I mean the basest form of these positions that you can take. And so when that happens,
yeah.
right?
Back
What
into the left. Back into the left. Yeah, exactly.
right? And so what takes place then is that uh you now have the most powerful, I would argue, social media platform, relatively Janny free.
Yeah.
And
In
so
terms of user base,
in
not in
terms of
terms of
user
normie
base,
scum, but
there's plenty of
yeah.
normies and there's plenty of, like, gay furry crap you can find on twitter.com, but I mean the place where it matters is the
Yes, where
news
discourse
and the hot
matters, yeah.
takes and the discourse. It is the discourse app. You
That's
can
what I mean.
call it
We're
whatever
not
you
normie
want.
scum. We're not Facebook normie scum. We're like
Yeah.
we matter. No, that's so that's terrible
Well,
to frame it that way,
let's
but
take
it's
a
true.
little hot air out of our ears and maybe cool our egos a bit. But yeah, we are at least on the platform that matters. And so, to see all that and to see that this PR war ain't looking great, I think this is the first time. I mean, this is the first observable on a massive scale, because government does stuff that the people don't want to do
Yeah.
since ever. But, like, this is the first time you're witnessing the machinations of a political machine and a foreign policy machine that is, like, deliberately not in the interest of Americans, and it's not in the interest of, like, the god knows how many immigrants that live in this country. And of course it's the generation gap too. Like, yeah, the younger
Yeah.
generations are far more diverse and far less white. And then you have, like, all these old boomers where Congress is, like, basically got the demographics of, like, 1980s America in terms of diversity, and they're the ones voting saying, "Yep, more aid to Israel, more aid to Ukraine, more aid to Taiwan, none of this shit at home." To where, yeah, you wonder why 72% of Americans wouldn't want to serve in the military. No wonder why Ben
Ugh.
Shapiro was calling for, like, a national service bill so Americans learn to be quote unquote patriotic. You will do 2 years in the military. You will, learn how much, Israel is important to America, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just, there's this great disillusionment where it's all, everyone knows it's like what Nicholas Aldo said. Everyone knows that this is kind of just fake, gay, cringe, and retarded, and no one wants to deal
Huh.
with that.
Did you see that video of the Ukrainian soldiers where they're like old men They're like they're like boomers
Oh yeah,
almost.
they have like the woman who's like
They're being
singing for
serenaded.
them, being
Yeah,
serenaded by them, and they're all like my dad's age. They're all in their
yeah,
like 50s or 60s. And it's just
and
like killed all of your young men.
yeah. No, but like the look on their faces is terrifying. Like it's these men, they know they're going to huddle off into their deaths as well, and they know that their sons have probably been redacted, and it's like it's tragic, right? And okay, you could say, oh well, that's Russia's fault. They could just stop bombing them, but there are things that go they're complicated issues that go beyond just like this very simplistic view of everything of like they're aggressive and they're this and that, and it's like, well, the situation has been brewing for, if you really wanted to say, like the better part of 100 years in that area of the world, maybe more actually, if you want to go back to the czarist days, probably 400 years. um but in terms of recent history, I mean, at least since the 1980s, 1990s, and before that actually, I mean, we know that the CIA, there was always like agitation in that part of eastern Ukraine and Galicia and so forth. So at least since the 1970s, if not earlier, since the post-war. Uh, so it's like, yeah, but then it's like the actual human face of it. It's terrible. I mean, uh, it's the same with these videos you see from Gaza. Like there was that one with the collapsed building. Did you see that one, Prude? Um,
Yeah, it got dumped into a GC that I'm in, and I didn't get
yeah.
any warning. And
No, no,
well,
no, no content warning on any of these
oh no,
videos.
and I mean like that's the thing, right? Like I that's an interesting phenomenon that I feel like needs to be discussed more. Is that like in the past, if you wanted to see like workplace accidents or the cruelest parts of like the cartels or the war in Syria, like you had to go to very specific places to find it.
Yeah,
Like Live Leak was around for a reason. And now that it's kind of gone, I mean, I know it exists on Telegram, but the format that it used to exist in is not with us anymore. It's everywhere. There's no content warning, and so at any point in time, someone can retweet an image like the one you're referring to, the video of the collapsed building, and it is corpses of children underneath the rubble in the Gaza Strip, and you're just moved in a way that is it makes you very uncomfortable and very
yeah.
uneasy. And the thing is that, you know, I feel like an AI or an algorithm or whatever they use to monitor content, you'd think they'd be able to catch that really
On
easy.
TikTok, they do.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean like but even Twitter, like I don't remember Twitter ever being this gory.
No, me
As long
neither.
as I've been around social media or even war news being shared on Twitter, like I don't I don't remember it ever being this bad. And so it makes you wonder how much of this is deliberate and
It
how
started
much
with
of it.
Ukraine.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, right. But I mean, or it's kind of also started with Syria too, like
Oh,
almost a
that's
decade
right.
ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Especially
right.
when the fighting really kicked off in 2013. But like, it feels far more in your face and deliberate. And I mean,
Yeah.
there's a big concentrated effort to make this in your face and deliberate, which I understand and to which I can sympathize. I would certainly want if I lived in the Gaza Strip, if I lived in the equivalent, and the United States government was aiding a nation that was like
If
trying
you
to
lived in
eradicate my
Aleppo.
well, yeah, if I lived in Aleppo and like the USG is supporting like terrorist and Islamic groups that want to eradicate my existence, I would be doing everything as possible to get international attention to it. And so I'm not unsympathetic at all. I'm just noticing that it's more graphic than I've ever remembered
Yeah.
the internet being.
But that's what I mean. Like after a certain point, like how they hang up all those posters of like the hostages around the world. Like
Hmm.
that's just some symbolic bullshit nonsense. Like then it's a big thing that they tear it down and they like shame people that tear it down. It's like maybe there could be something going there too about like they're just waiting for like a pro-Palestinian person to just like tear them down. But after a certain point, like after the initial tragedy, and then what we know about what happened to the EDM festival with the helicopters, right? After like a certain point, it's like how many, like, okay, how many of them have to die? You know what I mean? How many videos do you have to see of collapsed buildings? And it's like after a while, like the one side knows that the sympathy for it is running out very quickly, and as the boomers slip off into pillow land, that geopolitical sympathy will also be disrupted. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, what are they? I think like this is why they're so aggressive now. I think this is why we're not going to see the end of this, because um, the leader of that one nation, the leaders of that nation in the Middle East, they know that their time is coming up very quickly in terms of sympathies that they have among the global elite. So things are going to be very dangerous in the next 10 to 20 years. In fact, it's already happening. Why do I say 10 to 20 years? It's happening now. So who knows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And millions of people will probably immigrate from Gaza. You know, I mean, it's probably going to happen. And we're going to see more events like what just happened today on the Rainbow Bridge. So, you know, yeah, that's really fun.
Yeah, I mean,
Very
like pair this, and who had the great sort of I both hate it at how I'm going to reference this. Who had the great sort of, I guess, like quote tweet slash giga chad dialogue about the collapse of complex systems? He's like, oh, so infrastructure is going to get worse, right? And it's like, no, it just means hospitals are going to screw up more and give everybody AIDS, because that's
yeah,
another
oh
story
yeah.
that
That
happened
was
in
another
like
story.
in a
Yeah.
Massachusetts hospital where apparently a lot of people have been exposed to like hepatitis and human immunodeficiency virus. And so it's like, all right, guys,
we're back
this
in
just
the 80s with the hemophiliac crisis, the
yeah,
factor 6. Bill
we got
Clinton.
we got an AIDS crisis, we got
No.
shitty infrastructure, and we got like a coming financial like collapse due to ongoing mess arounds in Iran and Israel and Gaza. Are you ready for It's Morning in America again? Are you ready
Yeah,
for
it's like when
zombie
Bill
Reagan
Clinton.
to emerge from the grave?
Well,
This is the moment
speaking
that the
of
National
zombie
Review.
Reagan,
This is the
speaking of
moment that the National Review's been waiting for. Zombie Reagan emerges from the grave. You know, somehow still
uh
senile, but a little more cogent than Joe Biden, to run in 2024 for the Democratic ticket and to let us know it's morning in
uh,
America again, and that this is how we're going to solve the problems in this country. You know, he'll
yeah.
grant amnesty again. He'll pass some gun control. He'll increase your taxes, but you know, he'll make you feel like you're owning those Russians so hard.
Oh yeah, definitely.
National
Well,
Review's been playing the long game, I see.
well, the spirit of Reagan lives on. Apparently, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But no, it's like yeah, that it's like the 1980s where like Bill Clinton was selling tainted blood in Arkansas to Canadian hemophiliac product companies, and a whole generation of hemophiliacs unintentionally got AIDS because of it. So you know, there's this great documentary about it by Kelly Duda called I believe it's called Factor 8. I watched it many years ago. It's still on YouTube, I think. That covers it, where Bill Clinton was basically harvesting blood from prisoners, and some of the practices they were doing was like so horrific. Like oh man, like some of the times the freezers would go out and they'd sell the blood anyways, or they'd keep reusing needles, and it's like they'd like sand them off. Like oh god, like
Yeah,
it's
Factor 8, the Arkansas prison blood scandal.
yeah, and oh, like that's some of the stuff was incredible what they were doing. But that's Bill Clinton though. Bill Clinton, you know, he was the first black president though, so he really that's such an irony they called him the first black president, but he like imprisoned more black people in America. I know it's a
Whoa,
parapolitical
whoa,
point,
whoa,
but
whoa!
like
No,
yeah.
that title totally fits because I mean, black people are the number one killer of black people, so of course Bill Clinton's the number one black president.
Did Obama arrest a lot of black people too?
I'm sure. I know he deported a ton of people. He's actually like the deporter in chief until Trump came into office.
Yeah, that's right. That's really weird though. It's like the kids in cages. That was Obama.
Yeah,
they, they remember like in 2016 they would
it
like
was
use
great.
old footage. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it was great.
See, we should have just voted for Obama this whole time. You know, like it was.
Oh, so that just triggered like a childhood memory in me. So like, I've done, everyone knows I've done debate in college and high school, and like one of the events is extemporaneous speaking, where you're given like three or so prompts. You pick one, you get 30 minutes to research and prepare a 7-minute speech
Mhm.
impromptu to answer the question. And one of them was like, who should run for president in 2016? And some guy was just like, Obama should just say screw the Constitution and run for a third term. And it's just like, you know, Turbo Obama. That's what we
Oh,
should have gotten. We didn't
yeah,
know how
she
good
got
we had
Turbo
it.
Obama.
We didn't know how good we had it.
I
Thank you,
forgot about
O'Brambles.
I forgot about O'Brambles. Remember Obama because him and Romney had the same healthcare bill?
Yeah,
Obama.
everyone was just like, listen, the Affordable Care Act is modeled off of your plan, Governor Romney. It's Romney Care.
Yeah. Well, see, that could have worked in Salt Lake City though, like with the Mormons. Like
It could have worked if
healthcare.
he was like, I just wish he had doubled down on everything he had ever said. Like, listen, 48% of you don't pay taxes. You're just leeches on the system, and I'm going to end all of you. Like, like if Stephen Miller was
Like
still working for Mitt Romney, like we could have had like your dreams of traditional neighborhood development. They could have occurred right then and right now with Mitt Romney, but you didn't trust the
I didn't,
plan, Anon. You didn't trust the plan.
I didn't know Stephen Miller worked for Romney. That's crazy. Yeah, please send those super chats. Like I said, I got hammered last stream, so hopefully this stream gets monetized. But speaking of the spirit of Reagan, did you want to talk about Malema? No, that's in South Africa. Malai. How do you?
Malema is in South Africa. He's the guy
Yeah,
that says "kill the Boer" all the time, and AfriForum keeps suing him. But I don't know actually what his first name is. Malema. I'm not looking it up. Thank you
Joseph
for
Malema.
Julius Malema. Yeah,
Julius Malema. Yeah.
part of the EFF, the Economic Freedom Fighters, a bunch of African Marxoids that aren't really Marxists. They just want to kill white people. That's really what I
Marxism
mean.
was always an excuse in Africa just to kill white people.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's like selling liberation theology from the Catholic Church to South Americans.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Like, well, it's same with Nairi, right? But like Nairi, he was like somewhat competent, but then it just fell apart. Like I don't know. I guess CIA stopped giving him checks or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you want to talk about him? Like I don't know how much you talk
He
about
got
it because then I'm
elected.
just gonna counter people. But
I
yeah,
mean,
he got elected.
he got elected, and I mean that's probably
Well,
better than whatever shifty lefty commie that happened in that
Peronist,
country.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
the question becomes, and the question should always be: one, you shouldn't have a lot of faith in your politicians to begin with.
Yeah.
Two, is he doing what he promised he said he was going to do? And if that means like cutting up a bunch of departments and physically removing the heads of like gender equality bureaucracies, then yeah, let's get rid of him. But I mean, if he sells out the country to like the Chinese or to like whatever, like yeah, I'd be more concerned. But I feel like the right wing has a lot of like telescopic sympathy, philanthropy, like the Mrs. Jellybee's, telescopic philanthropy from Bleak House, which I wish more people would read. I feel like that's the big deal here. Is like we all want victories everywhere and anywhere,
Oh yeah.
and I still think that one good point was made by Thultide that like if he succeeds in how to like dismantle administrations and bureaucracies, we can learn from him. If he fails, then we should learn from that too, and maybe not put our hopes in
Oh, like
politicians.
Maloney?
Yeah, like Georgia Maloney, right? Like it's a great example. Or any sort of, or I mean, even like Reagan, right? Because like Reagan's 1980 run was far more right wing than people
Yeah.
give it credit for. Like he got a lot of flack for basically like having a lot of people whisper into his ear, like, listen, we're going to end the New Deal. We might tone down this affirmative action bullshit. And then he does none of that while he's in office. This is why Pat Buchanan and then were like, no, the neocons like hijacked the Reagan Revolution and have like killed.
Or even Bush Jr.
Well, I mean, so yeah, but I mean, like again, this is Pat Buchanan's whole deal. It's like neoconservatism has killed, and you can read neoconservatism however you want, but like neoconservatism killed any semblance of the right in America.
Yeah.
And William F. Buckley is a really great example of that. He's got a book called "In the Search of Anti-Semitism," where he basically calls like Gore Vidal, Pat Buchanan, and Joe Sobran a bunch of anti-Semites, and effectively killed their public careers in terms of like mainstream conservatism. I mean, they did other journals and publications and books, but I'm rehashing stuff because I went on a philosophy podcast not too long ago. I don't know when it's going to come out, but he emailed me like a month or so ago before the war in Gaza broke out. And he was like, hey, Mr. Prudentialist, I found you on Chronicles Magazine talking about Joe Sobran. Do you want to come on and talk about Joe Sobran? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And then like the day finally comes and I realize, oh no, we have to talk about Joe Sobran in Israel for like an hour. That's exactly what happened. And so, but no, it was a fun time. I was remarkably on point, playing my role as the most restrained extremist, as the meme goes. So it's a fun time.
Well, Sobran was the most restrained extremist. So
I yeah, I
yeah.
love Joe Sobran. Like
But what
if you
was it? They
if you
said
read
he was a
any of his
revisionist or something. Like,
well, I mean, what
yeah.
really tanked his career is that he spoke to Mark Webber in the Institute of Historical Review.
That wouldn't have made National Review happy. Yeah.
Well, he was already fired by National Review by the time that had
Hmm.
happened. But I
Yeah.
mean, like, if you read his essays, even when he was in National Review, like when he read him on women, he's remarkably
Yeah,
like
that was a
life.
great one.
He's so and it's funny too because like if you want to remind yourself how old Ann Coulter is, Coulter,
And Coulter, yeah.
so like Ann Coulter, right? So earlier this so there was an election earlier this month, and Ohio enshrined the right to an abortion in the state's constitution. And Ann Coulter is just like, oh my gosh, you know, the Republican Party has got to abandon the pro-life position, otherwise they're never going to win an election. And then someone was like, hey, Ann Coulter, is this you? And it's like one of her notes from a Joe Sobran essay saying if like the Republican Party ever abandons pro-life, abandon the Republican Party. And it's
Oh,
just American political history is weird. But yeah, she did a lot of editing and like did a lot of like forewords for like collections of his essays. He's arguably one of the most prescient guys still to read. I always tell people if you want to read Joe Sobran, please read Notes for the Reactionary of Tomorrow. He wrote this in the 80s, and he's basically telling you, listen, the mythology of liberalism in World War II's BS. The current liberalism wants you to focus on the alien, or he calls it alienism. He wants you to love the other, but not your own people and country, and that you know the modern form of conservatism is a dead letter, as is the Constitution. And it's just like he was writing this like 40 years ago, and you're just like, damn. And this is a point that Jay Burden made a while ago. He had said the greatest lie that the left has ever told the public is that the right wing has no vast intellectual tradition or canon, when it really does. And I'd argue it's a much more richer one than the left is. And it's just like, yeah, Joe was right. Both Joe McCarthy and Joe Sobran.
yeah, 100%. But that's the thing. Like, oh man, I don't know if I'm just gonna say stuff to piss people off because I don't know. Maybe we should move on. I don't know. Did we get the memo? Maybe I missed the memo, but apparently I guess we're supposed to be pro-capitalist again. Is that what's happening? Um, and that like that's like like the conservative, like a certain element of Reagan conservatism's good again. Is that what we're doing? I don't know, Prude. Can you help me out here? Um,
I so there has been this like drastic and radical departure from libertarianism in general. I mean, like libertarianism has shot itself in the foot because it's all like left libertarianism. It's all lefty lolberts that are basically just socialists. I mean, like Murray Rothbard, for everyone who wants to hate him, he was calling this shit out in the 80s and 90s, being like, no, they're these modal libertarians, these people who have politics of I hate my dad, I hate being dragged to church on Sundays, and I want to smoke weed. And like even the OG like founders of the more respectable forms of like Austrian economic Misesian libertarianism are just like, no, this is retarded, and we need to make sure that whatever exists of libertarianism ensures that like our relationship to the state never ends up in a situation where like FDR is forcing us by gunpoint to kill cattle because of some federal policy. And if he were still alive today, I mean, that guy would probably be arrested multiple times for defying like, you know, lockdown orders in New York or whatever. But that tradition is so gone. And to some extent, I think because the right wing that is still pretty cogent has accepted them. But, you know, you look at libertarians today and you're just like, well, that's dumb or that's silly. And you have no real political options for victory, although neither does a lot of parts of the far right. But, and so I guess like, oh, we're witnessing a return to someone who literally wants to call himself an anarcho-capitalist and he's in office. I guess some people are excited about that. I'm curious to see how it goes. I'm excited to see what happens. It's a really cool experiment that I think is going to play out.
well,
But as for, I mean, how much of our
like I'm
love?
sorry, Prude. I can't get excited for a guy that chills for Ukraine, that is linked to that one nation in the Middle East and is very emphatic about it.
So we're not going to be
But
excited about any politicians, is what I'm telling
well,
you.
like I
Like
mean,
in the West, even in South America, like especially with this guy that's gotten so much Western attention. Are we really supposed to be surprised that in modern day politics, a guy that expresses the same boilerplate love for these countries or boilerplate positions on X, Y, and Z, I don't. He's not even in my country. This is
No,
the
but
thing that
people
this is
have
the
been
thing about
treating him
me.
like Trump won again. Like it's insanity.
Yeah,
Like
that's
the
the
celebration.
telescopic. That's the
Like,
telescopic stuff.
are we so like starved of anything that we're like, oh well, see, like this. But no, but what really gets me is that okay, you can accuse other people of having like cringe, third worldist. I'm supporting like Putin or Xi or whatever. But then you turn around and like, wow, these people in South America, they're like based in. It's like people can't be consistent with anything. You know what I mean? Like this is what's so sad about it is we have to like subletter baseness to other people. And that's besides the issue about like anarcho-capitalism. What my problem is that like people are straw manning the original. Like first of all, right-wing anti-capitalism goes far back than just 2016 or 2017. And the arguments people are using against people that are against sort of the excesses of capitalism is like this picture that like, if you don't like capitalism because you're like some wholesome chungus, like family, whatever, that you want to live in a farm or some crap like that.
Well, I mean, that would literally be like the Southern agrarian argument in like
Yeah,
Jimmy
yeah,
Carter's
yeah.
Malaise speech, which is sincerely underappreciated. But I mean,
No,
like
but my point being is that
go ahead.
like right-wing anti-capitalism from 2016 onwards was more so pointing out the fact that there is a total apparatus of power that doesn't really rely just on the state apparatus of power anyways, that actually corporations are going to do the job of our enemies way more effectively than the government ever will. Now, is there an argument to be made that like there is, like what people are pointing out like on the BAP side about like that there's administrative bulk and Gibbs and welfare. Yeah, okay. And whatever you want to say about the term neoliberalism, you could debate about that.
So,
But it's
do you
like,
mind if I do? Do you
this
mind if I
no, but
ask you a
this whole thing
question?
that as soon as you use this term neoliberalism, that all of a sudden you're just like you're like that image of that soy jack with like the with Karl Marx book and like the Christian cross. It's like, like come on, man. Like I feel like people are being seduced into a way of anyways, go ahead, Prue.
Well, no. My question is to you: do you think
I
in
don't
the
know, or else I'm gonna piss people off. I can't speak against certain people, so go ahead, Prue. It's just yeah.
no, this is fine.
The guy worships Israel. What do you want? What do you want me to say? That's not a red flag. Like I hope he win. I hope he succeeds. If he managed to cut the head off the bureaucracy, then fine. But it's like don't go out of your way and celebrate him like Trump won again and God Emperor in America. It's like good times are here again. It's like
well,
I don't
God
know.
Emperor in
It's like come
America
on,
also
like
worships Israel, so I mean, like, let's not kid
oh yeah,
ourselves.
Trump
But
also worships. Yeah, there you go. So it's like what are you gonna do?
again, the real thing is one. This is where the not caring or the lack of like don't. This is again the telescopic shit. Like this ain't your country. This ain't your thing. Are you going to learn something from him? I hope I can
Maybe,
learn something from him.
hopefully.
But that's it. That's it. That's all I can say. I'm not going to get invested because I've never stepped foot in fucking Argentina as long as I've been on this earth. I've never been to South
I have
America as
relatives in
long as I've been on this
Argentina.
earth.
Okay, so
Well,
it's maybe
we know you've
I
got some
should be.
German in you, and that's okay. But like the point saying is that like everyone take a
Most
breath.
of my relatives on my other side are in Brazil and Argentina, in Italy. But like,
Oh, so Los
yeah, go ahead.
Confederales and some really nice Germans in your family. I mean, see, Gio's based. Don't worry, guys. He's totally white. But like, no, I think that the thing to really consider is my question that I wanted to ask you, Gio, was like in 2023. I mean, like there are very valid critiques of right wing capitalism. The
Maybe
like
I should just change the title of my book so I don't offend people. Maybe that should be it, right? Like that's
Gio, don't
yeah.
don't keep your book title as it is. You have nothing to worry about. Your
No,
book will be
because
good.
no, but okay. Just for spoiler alert. There's this essay that is sort of like a foreword to my book that our good friend Zoomer Schopenhauer wrote to explain that the term liberalism is very slippery and in terms
Yeah.
and it's very contextual. And so I understand people that are pro Malai saying that like the context of libertarianism and nationalism is different in Argentina and in South America as in general as it is in the West. And I agree with that. That's true. And maybe I'm just going off half cocked because it's like I see people doing this like shithead tribalism thing, and it's like fine. But I understand the context of nationalism in South America is very much like a third worldist Marxist thing, right? But I'm just saying, like, it's like when it comes to the critique of capitalism in general, uh, there's like a lot of leeway there. You can't just like as soon as you critique capitalism, you're a Compact magazine writer or whatever. Hey, listen, if Compact wants me to write for that, no, I'm kidding. That'll never happen.
Yeah, you don't plagiarize. I mean, you'll be fine. You'll never write there. But no, no. The question I
What
wanted
did you
to
want to
ask,
ask me, Prude? Go ahead.
the question I wanted to ask you, Gio, was politically speaking in 2023, and this is, I guess, this might be the question of where you would write, whether you would write for Compact or not. Who do you think has more power in 2023, the private sector or the government?
That's a hard question. Internationally, private sector, obviously, but like, oh, that's a hard question. They sort of work together. I don't know.
Well, no,
like,
that's my point.
Yeah.
Is that if he were to cut off the administrative head of the snake, i.e., the federal government, how much power would BlackRock still have? Because they're still
true.
beholden to a lot of the regulatory burdens, which are of course filled with progressives and their guys anyway.
Yeah.
This is where you get the whole democratic elitism stuff. So I guess my question would be like, if you get one shot, why not go for the head of the snake?
True. But
so
I mean, like,
I understand where you're coming from. I do agree with you, and I think, ironically, the Stone Choir people had a really great point about this. Like, you're not supposed to worship mammon, right? Like, you're not supposed to worship the almighty dollar. And I mean, like, Carl's point years ago where he said screw the GDP is still very accurate, and it's still, like, to me, there are things that are valued far more than all the gold and riches and pearls of the world. And one of them is a functioning country with a functioning culture, people, and religion. And you can't sell that. And the moment that you do sell it, well, you lose your soul, right? To go back to the gospel. And so when I lose my soul, what becomes of my country? Well, if the country loses its soul, the country becomes a soulless economic zone and husk where millions of people are living in their shitty little favelas, while a few techno-optimists are trying to escape the shithole that they inadvertently created because they supported, like, H-1B immigration, right? So, yeah, I think that you can have right-wing critiques of capital. I don't think that, and I hate what you're saying. I actually agree with you, Gio. Like, I hate when people say, like, well, I have critiques of the system.
because they're saying like that what you've just stated.
Yeah, but what do? It's the same thing that you were just complaining about. It's like, oh, they just think you're a Marxist, and it's like, no, I'm not. Like, face the wall, Marxoid.
I mean, if you wanted to go down that road, I mean, what do you think the original instantiation of fascism was? It was basically that corporate power can serve the people by force. That's essentially, like, I mean, come on, that's like the Verona doctrine. You know what I mean? Like, it's
yeah.
So it's like,
but in like the 2010s, what was that called? It was called liberal fascism by Joe.
Yeah. God, liberal foul. Oh my God, I think I have that book somewhere.
Same.
Man, that's crazy. Like the big box store conservatard books. No, but like that's what I mean. Like, it's like the problem is then all of a sudden, like, I'm seeing this thing where it's like, if you do talk about, like, you can't say that word atomization anymore. That's also cringe, and that's like old, old whatever. And like, you can't, you know what I mean? Like, if you talk about like how society isn't conducive to family life, and that's also like, not being whatever. It's like, I don't know. It's just like I feel like there's more ideological contradictions that we have to let on, and the reason that we don't state these contradictions is because, of course, you never want to piss people off who are in a war with each other. And so, but it's just like, fuck, man. Like, I'm seeing all this rhetoric now, and it's like, well, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. But I hope Malai does well, obviously. Like, I hope if he manages to, get rid of the 40-year-old Peronist corrupt left liberal system, then fine. It's
I wish him luck.
Yeah,
because I mean, like, at this point, it's almost a meme to say like real meritocracy has never been tried, at least in our lifetime. Because I mean, it hasn't, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, like,
no, I mean, this goes back to like this is the one thing that I did agree with that BAP essay where he's just like, well, if you wanted to like institute a way where dysgenic leftists never win anything, you would be implementing sort of these merit-based programs, because they're by biology alone they're not going to make it, And I'm like, I'm sympathetic to that take, because, like, let's face it, there are a lot of like lefty patronage sinecures for people that don't have the capacity to actually govern that work in government. And you never get fired from government, so they just stay there forever. Like, is that guy that's harassing the halal stand dude in New York ever going to get like arrested or anything? Like, no, he's not. Like we know why. It's obvious. In the same
Yeah,
way
it's
that like some
obvious.
of these like leftards are just not going to be
Yeah,
attacked
but then
or
again, but did you see that thread by that our good friend Carlos capped
no, I
from
didn't see it.
Arthur Chu? Did you see that one?
Oh yeah, no, the Arthur
Yeah.
Chu tweets were
That's a
Arthur.
rebuttal to BAP right there. Like, and I
Yeah,
hate to say it, but it's a pretty good one. I
I
don't
mean
want to
it
admit
is,
that
it
it's
is.
good, but it's good. That, basically weakness,
Being the last man is easy.
yeah, being strong and vital, that's difficult for most people. But whereas like he's banking on the vast majority of people becoming gayer and weaker and more
Well,
dysgenic.
biologically speaking, he's right.
And he's right.
Like, well, I
No,
mean,
but
but
that's what's
like,
so terrible about it.
well,
Like that's
I agree, I agree. Like,
I mean,
we're
like he's a
heading
nihilist at the end of the day. God is going to win in the end, of course. But
like
it's like,
people
yeah,
are dead set on the what's the word I'm looking for? People are really just dead set on the fact that we're going to have the time machine situation. There will be Morlocks and there will be Aloys. And there are a
yes,
lot more people that are happy to be Aloys because it's a lot easier to just rely on a select few of people to do it. And it's sort of I mean, it's taking the forms of hierarchy that we're used to, that there are natural noblemen, that there are natural geniuses and sparks of genius and
yes,
understandings that the world works a certain way. Like, we get it. It's always been that way. But we're taking it to the extreme where we have to service the needs of the people that are unfit for it and servicing the people that are willingly never going to do anything to improve their own lives. And, even the most like, foppish people out there, some of them have moments of clarity where they're like, hey, maybe the thing I'm doing is going to kill me, and they get better. But most
yeah,
people aren't like that. And there are a lot of people that are banking on that fact. And, on the other side of the pyramid, on the top, again, this is where I kind of understand why Elon Musk and others are like fighting this war against biology, where they're like, we need to get the hell out of here as fast as humanly possible, because if we don't do it in the next like 10 to 20 years, there will be no human capital left that can get us to like space or whatever. Totally
yeah,
understand that vibe. So I guess the real issue is that like, uh, I mean, even like Conservative Inc. has this problem. Like National Review and all them, like they'll whine and constantly moan and complain, and they'll say that they're standing atop the cliff of history, yelling "Stop!" But like, and they've spent years complaining about like, oh, vitalism and or post-Christian right or whatever, and it's just like, I don't think they've ever understood that like the sales pitch of, yeah, like the basic vitalist sales pitch, like why settle when you can be a winner? Like that's a
right,
good sales pitch. And the inverse to that sales pitch is the leftist thing, the Arthur Chu thing. Why be better when you can just settle and like eat your Cheetos and be fat and be a loser and kneel? Like those are your battles. You can either be the minier, the minier call, the fewer chosen type deal, right? Like, are you willing to deny yourself and pick up your cross and follow whatever? Or are you okay keeping your riches and buying and using your riches for OnlyFans and like VR 8K porn or whatever? Like that's the battle that you're really into. And it goes back at the end of it all to sort of a battle of belief and self. Like, do you believe that this is okay? Are you okay living the rest of your life knowing that there are certain neighborhoods that you can't bring a car around because they'll either, rip your car apart or they'll bomb it? Or are you willing to do what's necessary and prepare and do X, Y, and Z and to do, maybe survive and get out of it okay? And like
mm-hmm.
that's the shitty part about it all is that unfortunately right now, due to like immigration, our cultural programming that does come from, federal grants and from the State Department, et cetera, blah, 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 as well as the private sector, they got to go too. The side that says, it's actually okay to be a fat slob like the whale or to have as many plastic things inside of your intestines is totally fine as long as you're enjoying yourself and you're not hurting anybody. That side's winning. And
Oh yeah,
I guess really the helicopter rides and other things like that, they'll probably be needing in due order when the time comes. But until then, you just have to survive and make the most of it and find like-minded people to endure. But I do agree with you wholeheartedly, Gio. Is just that, and I mean, I just did a whole video on this. Is that we live in this sort of chronographic world where we have to be the latest thing at all times. We have to counter signal. We have to be on our tribe. We have to do what's necessary in order to stay in camp and on message and on tone, information
mm-hmm.
at all times. And when you don't do that, when you recognize that there is nuance to the world and that things are not so easy as like, well, there's the fake and gay, then there's like the based and true. There's more to it than that. and you start trying to flesh that out. But I mean, like, once you start doing that, you recognize that you're stepping outside of the boundaries of your respective tribe or camp. And at that point, what's that? It's like what Thomas says. You're going to walk alone, and sometimes walking alone really sucks because you're
Right.
more likely to get attacked.
No, but that's what I mean. Like the problem is you're like people are abandoning like how should I put this? People are abandoning the causal mechanisms with the way that things are particularly arranged in order to like hyper focus on certain things above others. And then when you point out that maybe things work a bit differently, then it's like no, that's cringe. That's wholesome chungus. That's that's like ignoring like the like I remember back in the day, the people that were on the right that were critiquing capitalism was because like the government wasn't sending enough money to poor or brown people. It was like it's because the real fact of the matter is that corporations control a substantial part of our lives and they support causes. And my book is a lot of like why they support a certain aesthetics and a certain belief that comes with those aesthetics. And why is it that corporations are, I hate that term woke, but why are they, let's say,
Why are they leftist?
within what exactly? Why are they predominantly in the contemporary cultural left? Why are they in such like, why does the contemporary cultural left have has the sinecure of the corporatocracy in general? Um, and it's like I take a lot of time to explain it, but if you're just going to say that, oh, it's because it's like whatever, you're not you haven't hardened your heart sufficiently enough, and that actually capitalism is based and European and so forth, then yeah, you can make an argument that certain forms of capitalism are inevitable, right? Like, and whether we like it or not, this is Nick Land's argument. At the same time, it's like there's a more mature critique than just saying that looking at a few like compact mag writers who are basically just Marxists anyways, and like like Tingstorg or whoever, and you know what I mean? Like you can't just like look at those people and say that that's the sum total of a more rightward critique of what capitalism has become or what liberalism has become. You know what I mean? But then if you're just gonna say that, well, like everyone has to be a Bronze Age step warrior and a bodybuilder, then that's kind of unrealistic standard. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's just like the problem is that a lot of people are willing to focus on lifestyle politics over actually creating a system that works. And that's the problem because it's easier. You know what I mean? It's easier to go into that than to go into other things. And the left does this as well, by the way. It's easier to sublet all of your ideas towards this sort of like, I don't know, climate change fatalism or whatever, than to actually address real world problems or the fact that your constituents are not doing too well genetically and spiritually and otherwise.
Your constituents are like drugging themselves to death
Yeah.
and don't see hope for the future. I mean, like I that was the talk I gave the other week in the idolatrous age. It was like, listen, the people that you want to live are the ones that are killing themselves the most. And
Well,
I mean,
exactly.
this is why vision for the future, and again, the whole aesthetics in politics are so damn important because people will do a lot more if you are willing to give them a reason to live. And I mean, traditionally, this used to be the role of the church, even for those that were poor and destitute that could turn their lives around. But that has decayed substantially. The same thing with like charity, the same thing with the state, the same thing with our pop culture. Like when your pop culture, and again, this goes back to the thing I ask people rhetorically time and time again, what is the progressive role model for a straight white male? Well, usually it's a guy that ends up killing himself for like a browner future. Like that's
Yeah.
very, very objectively true when we see this in media and culture. And so it's just like, well, if that's your opportunity, that or transing yourself and removing yourself from the gene pool, what's the point in living? And again, uh for some people that just means I get my treats and I'm on Discord and I, become a furry or whatever. Like that's the Arthur Chu path. The other
Yeah.
path is like the harder one. And obviously, it's harder to do the harder one when you don't see a point in doing it. Because like let's face it, right? Like I mean, yeah, the Trump thing's great. And everyone and I think Zero HP Lovecraft was right. Everyone wants to chase that like black tar heroin first high of their life that
The
was
chasing the
2016.
dragon. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's chasing the dragon of 2016. But we haven't gotten that dragon back, and I don't think we ever will. I mean, even if Trump wins in 24, it ain't gonna feel like 2016, and it isn't gonna feel like we could take over the world. because we didn't take over the world, and in fact, we lost. In a lot of ways, we lost.
Do you want a
And
real black pill right now? Do you want a real like sobering
go,
moment?
yeah,
If
go for
Trump
it.
wins next year, do you think things will substantially change? If you look at all the problems we have around us, do you think things like if Trump actually were to win, he probably won't, by the way. I'm just saying they probably will never let him win ever again. But I'm saying if he did win though, do you think would he have his sobering moment to say maybe you have to be serious about it instead of
Oh,
wasting 4 years? Like
well, the
or
thing,
not wasting 4 years. No. That's uncharitable. Having people around him that weren't invested in what MAGAism was
see
and actually were
that's the
staked in the
key issue.
grass.
That's
Yeah.
that's the key
Yeah.
issue. Is like I don't care. Trump to me is more of a symbol than he is like a man that
Yes.
governs shit.
Of course.
Like the whole Shane Gillis stand up bit where everyone's like, yeah, like 40 minutes of straight shit talk about like how we killed this terrorist. Like, I want that back on television because that was great. But I'm more concerned about like, well, who's actually running the White House? And it seemed like when he was quote unquote running things, it was mainly Jared Kushner and it was
Yes.
mainly Miller and them. But also the big problem is that he had the entire military apparatus against him. I mean, when Mark Milley is talking to like the chief of staff about what to do to keep him in check and to make sure he can't like have access to X, Y, and Z and lie to him. Yeah,
Yeah.
unless he says day one, I am like firing this many members of the bureaucracy and I am arresting and executing X number of people of the like, chairman of the Joint Chiefs or whatever. Like, unless he does that, then no, I don't have a lot of hope. Do I have hope for some of the guys that are working in them, like listening to like the Center for American Renewal and their plans to like, permanently gut punch the bureaucracy? That gives me hope. I don't think it's enough, but hey, it's a
Right.
start. So I'm not optimistic if he wins
Well, just to be
elections.
clear, I hope he wins, but
I hope
I just
so. I
yeah.
want him to
Yeah.
win, and I want him to succeed, and I want the people that are in his camp doing what is necessary. And I guess I have some. I have to have again. If I were to look at all these things in the world and not remember and remind myself God gets the last say, I'd be insane. I would be totally black pilled and like be a doomer and give no reason to live. But I don't think that way. And it can be black pilling. But if I accept that or I take too much of it, um, then I've become the very thing I've told everyone I know in my audience for the last 3 years not to be. And I feel like that would be
Right.
a greater personal failure on my part than anything else. And um, I refuse to be that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep working out. I'm going to keep gardening. And I'm going to keep talking and telling people to network in real life and to go to events and to do things like that. And that's the case. I'd rather
Right.
I'd rather I'd rather try, fail, and try again than to be a hypocrite and say, "Do not give up hope," when my entire life is hopeless.
Right. No, exactly. But the problem is that people should know better. You're not making it very easy. I mean, hopefully people have the grace to handle disagreements, but I see the way things are going, and then it's like people are just talking past each other, not really, seeing the issue of like what people actually believe, and rather than a caricature of what you think they believe. That's
Yeah,
and it's very, and that's like we've talked about this many times. Why just the nature of certain online platforms gear towards certain interactions. You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, it's like I'm noticing that I don't know, like in some ways we're at the end of something rather than beginning, and it's not a very comforting feeling. So I don't know. Maybe we're just who knows what's gonna happen next year, Prude. I don't know.
I have no idea either, and that's okay.
I think at the end of the day you just have to do your own thing and not
And
really
hope you
care
make it.
about hope you make it and not really care about what other people think at the end of the day, even though it's hard because you know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? Um, Sometimes when you steer the possibility of, you know, working on something so hard for a year and then maybe it not going anywhere, we'll see what happens. Anyways, do you want to move on to the article or do you want to talk about fat women again or
Oh God,
some Chungus bin Laden? Do you want to talk about
when
that?
when was fat women being
That
mentioned?
model in the runway model where the chubby girl.
Oh, is this the whole Billy Pratt picky hot thing that he was talking
No,
about?
no, it was like some. Well, I guess so, but it was like some model, and then like people were, I don't know.
Hmm.
It was another like body image discourse thing. You didn't see that?
No, I
Martin was
saw it. I
trolling
just
people hardcore. He used troll, and he used the photo of logo again.
I look we've talked about the using of logos photos to self dox
I know
yourself.
it's terrible.
I
It's not
don't I
good.
don't I don't condone that. I remember when there was that university shooting earlier this year and people were saying it was Logo's face and they called him Lynn D. Walker. You know, as funny as that
Oh
is,
man.
it really I don't think Logo deserves that. I know that sounds like I don't care what people think. I wouldn't want that done to me. I
Yeah, that
wouldn't
is
want
too
that
bad.
done to
Yeah.
you. And it would be even worse because you live in Canada where like they got no problem like dropping your ass real quick, right? Like the same
Mm.
thing with the United States with the FBI or the ATF or whatever. I really don't want that to happen to me. So I guess like yeah, I don't condone it. It's funny, but I feel bad about laughing. But you know, at the
Yeah,
same time,
it does feel bad. Yeah.
I'm like, well, Logo, you've kind of done it to yourself, but I don't think anyone, I don't know what kind of redemption arc Logo would have to
No, but
go
why
on
would
to
people?
stop people from doing it.
No, but you'd figure it'd be like it's been used so many times. Yeah, it was Miss Nepal. It was Miss Nepal, Miss Universe competition. But you'd figure like
She didn't
people
look
have done
very
it.
Nepalese. Like Nepal is usually
Yeah,
very Asiatic in my understanding, but
yeah,
she
she
looked
doesn't
kind
look
of Western.
Nepalese. No, but like you'd figure people have used the logo image so many times, like Sam Hyde, that people would get the bit. Like I
Yeah,
guess Community Logo is just more of an obscure figure than Sam Hyde. So it's
yeah.
like
Well, that's the point, right? This is like Logo de Atlas, and whatever his real name is, I do not know. He's a little more of an
Cameron
obscure.
Fuller.
Okay. Well, I don't think people know who Cameron Fuller is versus Sam Hyde. So if someone were to be like, "Oh, some like scrawny like white guy with like weird takes on Evelyn communism," and starts saying, "Oh, some guy says, "Oh yeah, my name's Cameron Fuller, like I'm the shooter or whatever." Like it's a little different than like, "Oh,
This
Al
Sam Hyde,
Sabdi
yeah.
Haimovich, is the ghost of Kiev," right? Like it's a little different. So I guess I don't know. I wouldn't want that to happen to me, and I wouldn't encourage that. So I
His name
guess
is Scary Turnbull. I
there you
have
go.
Selfie Sunset. I actually bought it back when me and Logo were on speaking terms.
I kind of want to
Um,
read it just for shits and grins.
it's all right. It's not that bad. People were
Do you want to
pooping one of
review it
the.
on the show one of these days?
Oh, maybe we should do that. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah,
Let's do
yeah,
that after episode 69. We can go review Selfie
yeah.
Suicide.
Hopefully,
Eh,
Logo doesn't give us a cease and desist order. But like, yeah, we'll do
Oh,
it.
for reviewing a book that he wrote that's publicly accessible. I'd love to see him
Some
try
people
and
do
send a
that.
cease and desist.
Yeah, some people do that. They're like so offended.
Well,
Did you ever
then
go
I'll
on OF Tech Wars, Gio? No, I didn't go on the Tech Wars with. I guess actually, no. I lie. I did go on the Tech Wars with Campbot. That one, and it was with Logo too. It was with Logo too. So that's an ancient one, man. That's years ago. And then I did go on the Tech Wars with Warren. So whatever happened to Warren, I forget. But yeah, so like Logo. My favorite photo is the one with the jewel where he's like the jewel smoke's coming out of his like nose. That photo goes hard, man. That's a good
I
photo.
did
I
see
like
that
that photo.
one from Martin's tweets. So
Yeah. It was I believe that was also from a BTR live stream back in the day. Cuz yeah, I'm not joking. Yeah, yeah.
God
Um
bless.
man. Remember when Logo was on Hawes? Like they were in real life together? Um
Yeah, I've seen
that
that. I
was
also I
funny.
also remember um I also remember when what's the word I'm looking for? When they saw Logo at one of those CPI
Communist rap.
conferences and he's just like kind of like trying to make sure no one sees him and he like
And
raises his
he's got
hand
the
in
hand
support.
up. It's like
It looked
halfway
it
up.
looked so bad. It looked so bad. Yeah, it was
Oh
a Caleb
man.
Maupin thing before he got like canceled for allegedly being a
Yeah.
sex pest, like all commies are. But yeah, he's
Yeah.
there at this little like CPI conference and he's just like, I support this. And it's just like, oh man, at least like dress yourself up a little better. Like I'm not the world's best looking guy, but if you were to see me at a conference, even I'm gonna look like I'm a real human being and that I
Yeah.
want to be there.
Oh, sorry, I was wrong. The image comes from the Haas and Logo versus Keith and Joel debate. Um, that was funny
How
because
bad do you
me.
have to be to lose a debate like that to those two? Like
to
you got
Haas and Logo.
BTFO'd by Keith and Joel. Like just go
I don't
home.
think anybody won that one though.
No, but I mean, optically speaking, like
Oh yeah, yeah,
come
yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah,
Come
yeah.
on. Like Haas chimped out and Logo is like sputtering and his like wordcell.exe has failed to boot, 4 times in a row. It's like, come on. Come on, just go home.
But he debuted that background where he's in his backyard, um, near his like cuck shed. He debuted that in BTR, so he's a kept man, as they say, kept woman, kept man. Apparently, he's
He's a
a
kept
good
woman.
house. Hey, man, it'd be nice to be a house husband, like. But no, it was funny because I remember
If
there
you
was
get
one
married,
moment.
Gio, that's what you would be because all your work is at home. You would be a house
Yeah, true.
husband.
I would be a house
You're a
husband.
writer, you're a podcaster, and you're an artist. Like, yeah, you'd be a house husband. You'd stay at home.
Oh, true. That's true. Yeah. No, but it's funny because there was moments where like Keith and Haas were trying to have like a serious discussion, but then like Joel was like memeing, and then like Logo, he does this thing. I've seen this in live streams. I've been in enough like things with him where he'll press out, where he'll like become like his way of being all serious. Like he'll just like jump in at random with some like innocuous point, but like he'll look very like kind of like pissed off, and he'll just like jump in at random like, yeah, like what about this? And it's like it's like that's not what they meant. That Offenstall meant. It didn't mean over. So it's he'll like come in, he'll snipe at you. So like yeah. So that was like, I remember that night I watched that whole thing. That debate. It wasn't much of a debate because like
No, it was not.
a debate implies a moderator that's really into it, and I think like Ethan Ralph said like a total of 3 words. So that was, it was entertaining though, I must admit. It was funny. You know what's funny is because I wanted that on Break the Rules at the time, but then we just like couldn't get it cleared because then like I believe like it was either like Lev or Keith that put their foot down. I forget. For the obvious reason of like, the obvious reason of
The
Lev,
obvious
right?
reason.
The
Yeah, yeah.
obvious reason. Yeah, yeah. So I'm actually kind of glad. That would have got us a lot of heat though if that debate happened. So I don't know, man. Maybe I should have been. It's like a blessing in disguise because, like, then the Haas, the way Haas people are, right? Like, I mean, but then again, Patrick weathered the storm. Like all
Yeah,
those
but I
Haas
mean,
people coming after him.
God, it was so funny to see like screenshots from like the Discord
He
server.
edited
It's
my
like,
skin darker.
I need you to have like 20 retweets and like 50 likes on this right now, or you're banned from the Discord. And it's just like I can't imagine living in that world, man. I really
Oh
can't.
man.
I can't imagine living like. Don't get me wrong, I love my audience, but I would never love you in a way where like I'm going to like demand you like good little slaves to like and retweet everything that I do or say when I'm owning my
Yeah.
enemies. Like I could be wrong, and I would want someone to privately DM me and be like, "Hey, Prude, like you're kind of fucking up here." Like I would appreciate the friendly tap on the shoulder, being like, "Hey, man, like you need to settle down. Like you're
Yeah.
coming at this the wrong approach." Whereas no, it's like the double maybe I don't have the ego to be like a dumb communist on twitter.com and on YouTube, and this is why I'm saying these things. But like even like
Oh.
I'm too nice. This is my problem. I'm too
Yeah.
nice.
Although you let the sickness side slip out, like this disturbed, like down with the sickness, um, something inside of me is slowly changing
I try
in
not to.
me. Can you give it to me?
I try my best not
Wah.
to.
Yeah, you try your best now. There was coming out a little bit of Night Owls. That was like funny.
Oh, that was a lot of fun. Like, oh, it's like, what is it with
Yeah.
every person who hits like 50 years old is Jewish that like they look like the most.
The
I'm
Wailing
like,
Wall.
they hit the wailing wall.
The
I gotta
Wailing Wall.
start using that more.
Oh, that was hilarious, man. That was no, but it's funny because like yeah, the thing is like Haas, like I don't know, it's like I just hate when people like use their audience against others, you know what I mean? Like it's like go and attack that person. It's like because the thing is I would probably sit down and talk to Haas at one point if it was like, if it was copacetic, right? Like I don't have nothing against the guy, but it's just like some things that he does is just like,
I have a
you know
thing
what I
against
mean?
communists.
No, of course, but it's like I don't know, like it's just like but like that debate with Patrick, like a lot of the dishonest stuff that, like, for example, when Patrick was being sarcastic,
Oh,
it's
I
like,
know, and they took it literally.
see, Patrick Casey doesn't defend white people. It's like, come on, man. Like, he was being sarcastic. Like, you don't have to.
Come
Like, if
on,
you
man. Do you know his history?
do you know the history
You know
of
who this man
Patrick
is?
Casey? Yeah, do you know who this guy is? Yeah, Matthew, I hate to agree, but it's like, you know, you've given way too much good faith. Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, because that's what I mean. Like, it's the problem is like
Oh,
when
I
it's a
should read
spectacle.
chat. I should read
When it's
chat.
like a spectacle, it's just, you know what I mean. Like,
That's the thing with
yeah,
those. Again, this is I think the big reason why internet blood sports died is like,
yeah,
what are you here for? You're here for two fandoms to clash,
100%.
and what nothing came out of that, right? Like
Yeah,
on
yeah,
our side, everyone saw, disgusting third worldist that doesn't belong in America versus a
yeah,
guy that recognizes communism has killed more people in the 20th century than anything else on earth. And it's like, what am I really going to get out of this other than to watch someone have an ordeal
exactly.
of civility?
Yeah, see, Matthew's right. You be taking Haas' actual serious interlocker. He doesn't deserve that. Well, you know, the thing is, like, when okay, because podcasting is different than doing a live stream debate, obviously, where you could sort of like come to each other with at least somewhat of an agreement that it's not a confrontation, it's a discussion. But when you're doing the whole debate bro thing where it's like, oh, you gotta come on stream right now, or like state your case, bro. Like, it's, you know what's gonna happen. You know, those fans are never
Well,
gonna come
and
around to
see, and
you.
people give me shit when I say like I really don't like theology debate on YouTube because it's the
Oh
same.
God,
And
yeah,
again, it's like
yeah,
no, I think theology should be debated. The difference is like when you start treating it like internet blood sports and you start treating it
yeah,
the same way the Patrick Haas debate is. Where is God in the picture?
yeah, hundred
That's my
percent.
issue. That's why I don't follow a lot of
Well,
it.
you know, like that's what I mean. Like, I'm friends with Telos Bound. Like, he's a good kid. You know, he knows way more about Orthodox theology and, frankly, Catholic theology than I do. But it's like, you know, it's like at the end of the day, like, we all are who we are, and you know, I mean, the debate bro thing, especially when it comes to theology, it's just, it's needless. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure we probably disagree with something theologically. Although I don't know the way that the Catholic Church has been going in the past. You know, did you see that thing about the Pope Francis and
The transgender
the
Vatican tour.
Transformers? Yeah,
Yeah, I
the
did.
Possible Women. I thought that was a joke. I thought that was like some anti-Catholic thing, but it was like, no, that was real. Like, what's he like? Is this like what? Is this like Mother Teresa and you know, the starving people in Africa? Is like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, what's this whole thing about? Is it like you're trying to reach towards the worldly and have some kind of like reconciliatory moment? Like, it's never gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
I don't know. It's like, why
I think
entertain something like that at the end of the day?
whoever succeeds Pope Francis really kind of needs to take that line from like the young
Yeah,
Pope with Jude Law, where it's like I am taking this church back to the Middle Ages, and whoever doesn't want
the
to follow
path
along can
that is
leave.
narrow is the
Yeah.
one. Yeah. That whole speech. Um, but you know, here's the thing. Like, this is you know, you know, I don't really like, you know, doing the whole like I have a GF thing, but like there's one good you know, there's one thing you know,
You're
and
a
if you want to
girlfriend guy.
say, yeah, no, oh my girl, oh God, don't say that. No, but there's one thing if you want to say that you know, my GF has longhoused me. There's one thing that she did, you know, she said to me. She's like, you know, Gio, everything you do online, everything you do for your job, and everything you put out there, always remember Philippians 4:8. And let me read this to you because I think it's very important. And this one thing that my GF gave me, it'll be this, okay? Philippians 4.8. And this is, of course, probably, I think, King James, because it's like, you know, if you Google it, it's like either New Version or King James. It's New International Version.
Ooh.
Finally, uh, you don't like the New International?
No, I do not know, but go on.
Let me just see if they have different ones here. They have King. I mean, who? Where is it? Where is it? But let me just read. Let me just read it because this is, you know, it's the point of the. It's the spirit of the passage. So Philippians 4.8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good rapport, if they be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things only. Right? There you
Yeah.
go. Like, so it's very hard to, like, when you see the ephemera and the nonsense that people, let's face it, people weaponize because it translates into clicks and whatever, then it's like, you start to slowly not care about those higher things, and then you only care about this, the ephemera or the appearance of those higher things. What is true, what is virtuous, what is lovely, what is, what, what I mean, like, these are the things that should be at the forefront of your mind always, and no other, not no other, but like, what is good, what is lovely, what is pure, what is just, what is virtuous. Those are the things that you should focus. But it's not just what you should focus on. It should be a calculation that you run with, what am I putting out there in the world? What am I putting out there in the world? Am I putting out something that will be virtuous, will be lovely, will be true, would be filled with wisdom, would be filled with godliness? Or am I putting out something that's just going to evaporate as soon as it hits the floor? And I'm doing it for whatever. Or I'm doing it to spite someone else, or I'm doing it to contribute to some kind of like weirdo online interaction that isn't going to, materially manifest into anything beyond itself. You know what I mean? So it's like, there you go. Like, I'm sorry, may have a little bit more of the Clownvik fog, but I'm trying to explain myself a bit more, but I'm not getting there. Yeah. What do you say, Prude?
Well, for me, and I've said this before, I think of James 3.
Mm.
You know,
What do you
so you,
Orthodox? What do you guys use? What version do you use?
well, like I guess it depends. I mean, Old Testament translations are traditionally usually out of the Septuagint,
Mm.
English translations. So, like my OSB Old Testament is that of the Septuagint English translation. My New Testament is usually King James, but I have like 5 different versions of like translations of the New Testament.
Hmm.
King James, the New King James Version, Dway Reams. I also have the International Standard Version, and then the New English Translation. But my favorite, of course, is I grew up with the King James English, so I've always kept to
Yeah.
that, traditionally speaking.
King James only movement. Yeah.
But I'm not a
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm not an onlyist because you need other translations. I mean, there are parts in
Yeah.
Proverbs that
Yeah.
if you just use the Septuagint translation, you'd run into some issues. But I use plenty of other translations. But anyways, like I guess I think of James 3 because of just the fact that teachers and instructors are judged more, um, and so I think that's a good thing to have. And the tongue is fire of a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members that defileth the whole body and setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is
Mm.
set on the fire of hell. For every kind of beasts and of birds and of serpents and things of the sea is tamed, hath been tamed of mankind. But the tongue can no man tame. It is unruly and full of deadly poison. Therewith bless we with God, even the Father. Therewith we curse men, which are made in the image of God. And out of the same mouth proceedeth cursing and blessing. My brethren, these things ought not to be so. And I feel like that's
Wow.
something that just comes to my mind. That whole chapter is just basically saying, like, listen, there are not many masters, there are not many instructors among you. And when you do instruct, you will be judged harsher about what you say. So I try really, really hard not to be engage in that, like you said, that darker side in myself. And
Ooh, ah,
because
yeah.
I've had like guys in this chat and this audience be like, hey, like I can send like your work to my dad and not feel like I'm weirding him out. And I'm like, oh well, that
Yeah.
means a lot, like
Yeah.
I can help speak to boomers, and so yeah, those are the things that come to my mind with all of this.
No, but the tongue, that one passage of like, in the tongue contains both like cursing and praise. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's always a power that you have that, um the, I forget who said it. It may have been John of Canty, that once your tongue releases a word out into the world, it's impossible to get it back. And so
Yeah,
always proceed with that. Once you say something, you're gonna have to, even like here, you can, this show right now, you can strew my criticisms of certain forms of the e-right thinking, and you could say that, well, see, like, that means that you're a traitor or whatever, or you're like a closet Marxist, or, like, you know what I mean? You could construe anything. Anything that we say can be misconstrued into something else as an attack or as a personal attack or whatever. And so it's very difficult, especially when you're a writer. It's very difficult to actually land on something that maybe, you should risk those things. You should risk misinterpretation, the sin of
Well,
misinterpretation.
this is why I was joking with you the other week or so when we were
Yeah.
talking about like getting bought out or selling out, and it's just like,
Yeah.
Gio,
Yeah.
we have like 60 plus episodes and hundreds of hours
Yeah.
of proof of why we're never gonna get
And I have
bought out by
60 plus
anybody.
episodes of hundreds of hours before this show.
Yeah,
So it's, yeah, and you do as well. So it's
yeah.
like, yeah, yeah, of course.
Like I'm not gonna leak or say who said this, but it kind of stuck with me and it made me laugh, but it also made me like very soberly think, what am I doing sometimes? And there's a lot of like group chats can be incredibly horny and vulgar and
Yeah.
awful, and I'm trying to really just be this like. And so he kind of went, it's kind of funny that in like a Telegram chat that I like run that I occasionally destroy and bring back from the dead because I never stay in chats very long. I was called a soft-spoken foreign policy wonk. Yet the chat that I'm in is full of like religious infighting, horny posting, borderline Fed posting. And then I think about
I
other
was even doing some Fed posting.
but then he goes like, consider other chats that he and I are also part of that are like really nice, polite history discussions and pictures of like otters. And you're just like, oh man, what am I doing with my life? and,
Yeah.
and so I guess the last like 2 weeks has really been this weird look in the mirror, which I have a video on that people should listen to. It's sort of
Oh
this
yeah,
look into
100%.
communication and how it impacts our whole media ecosystem, where like you have to be about current thing in the hot take economy. And I think that that's really dumb because you want to have a good record of what you've said. And I like to think that, if you were to like bring up past tweets and or like streams I've done where I've said
Mhm.
something, I feel
Me
like I could
too.
defend most of what I've said. Like maybe 85% of it I could maybe defend. And I feel like
Oh yeah, of
that's a pretty
course.
good number to defend.
Yeah.
It'd be a little different if I said 50. Like then it's like, oh man, I'm not very serious. All right.
They're not gonna lie, there's some jokes I've done that I probably shouldn't have, but like,
Yeah, same.
yeah,
Same.
yeah.
I've said some jokes that and I've deleted some
The
tweets and
Kashuda
jokes.
episode.
Um you would get rid of your Kashuda episode?
No, just the beginning because like I did the
Oh.
Help Pooler thing, but like that was
Oh,
a
oh.
joke. That was a joke. That was a joke, and I explained that like what because we were talking about
You'd have to explain it to her, especially considering she's like the whole NatCon thing.
no, she was laughing because like she was talking about like, people accuse me being pro-Russian, but it's like I'm like genetically Polish and I live in Romania. What does pro-Russian look like in that context?
Yeah.
So the Russians have been G-word-hiding my people for how long? No, because we were talking. If you recall, this was a year ago. We
Yeah.
were talking about the begin. It was the beginning of the war, and it was before I left BTR, and I think and it was good because we were saying like, and I did it as a joke to be bombastic, and I said like I explained that it's like not that I'm like 100% co-sign whatever Russia does, but it's like it is funny how like people have. I believe even back then I said people subletting their bases to third world countries or second world countries. And I think that was my point is that, there are people that are like pro-Ukrainian, they're on the far right, and there are people that are pro-Russian that are on the far right. I do, however, think it's suspicious that the moment that Russia starts to win, now you have like a lot more right wingers that are like, you know what? I don't really care about Russia. And I don't know. That is kind of suspicious though, but we'll
Well,
see.
I think it's
Um,
because they're hoping that the war comes to an end. But I mean,
yeah,
it's the media
yeah,
again, the media ecosystem, right? Like, oh, well, it looks like this war is going to come to an end. I really don't care about this anymore. Time to move on to the
yeah,
next current
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, but that's what I mean. Like, it is suspicious, though, that the moment that the momentum, I mean, let's face, I mean, Salo did have a great point. He's like, it was inevitable that they're going to dump Ukraine eventually. The State
Well,
Department.
yeah, and
Yeah.
what a convenient time that that I guess the most divisive and politically I don't know, invested in country of all time just happened to go to war right as soon as things were looking bad. I'm not saying things are planned. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
uh, Satan has a really funny way of making things happen.
Exactly. And not that like someone like Putin or Xi Jinping would have to like rile up the Hamas anyways, right? Like I mean, if you really wanted to go by the what I think is probably what sparked it, which was the Israelis attacking the Alaska mosque during Ramadan.
Yeah.
They're like kicking those people out. Not to say that it's justifying what the Hamas, of course, like it doesn't justify them, kidnapping people and killing people on the streets, obviously. But like at the end of the day, I mean, again, like it's like I said, if it was a master stroke by the Kremlin, it wouldn't take. And again, in total fairness, in total fairness, like I'm not, I'm not that much of a vatnik to where I'm like, no way that could ever happen. I'm just saying that there is a possibility that if you did want to distract the world, where would be the location that you would use to distract people from your own conflict? It would
Yeah.
obviously be Israel. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it's
Especially for America.
yeah, it was 100%. Yeah. So not to say that Ziping and Putler had a hand in it, obviously, but not to say that that if that were to happen, if there was like solid evidence that came out that through Iran, the Kremlin was basically working to not radicalize Hamas because they're already radicalized, but like you know what I mean, like that they like maybe did a little nudge unit action. I wouldn't be shocked. I'm not that much of a vatnik where I would deny reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's, you know what I
Like
mean?
at the end of the day, they're still not your friend. But
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Especially Xi Ping is not my friend.
no.
So, but that's what I mean. Like, that's another thing too, is like, I'm not going to say that people like they go into like, well, the Russians, they're not European either. Like, out of all the BRIC nations, in terms of like connections to greater Europe, I mean, it's undeniable the history Russia has to, we've said this, but at the end of the day, I mean, the Kremlin has their own agenda, and that agenda doesn't include supporting you. So, if you're a right winger in America or in Europe, I mean, I totally agree why people wouldn't be hot, as other people are on the whole pro-Russian thing. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, Iran and China and North Korea and Russia and they have their own agenda, and you can't like get lost in the wilderness of nor should I think people get lost in the wilderness of Argentina and El Salvador either. These people have their own agenda as well, and it's just like
Well, there was
yeah,
a line, and I don't remember where it happened. It came from Morgoth. It may have been on a stream a while, like years ago. But he had said, I really don't like it when maybe this was like on Millennial or something. I don't recall. But he was just like, I really don't like it when people will be in my mentions when a bomb goes off in Israel, but they don't care what happens outside their window when like,
yeah,
ethnic Europeans are being put into like, grooming gangs and stuff. And it's just like, yeah, that's sort of my perspective on these issues. Like, like we said earlier, if Malai does something great and, gives us a pathway to like destroy like the bureaucratic
yeah,
state, I want to learn from it. I want to replicate it, make it happen in America, baby. Like
yeah,
let's do it. But I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
until then, right?
Maybe I got a little too hot at the whole Malai thing, but
But I mean,
yeah, I hope he
until
wins.
then, right? Like my
Yeah,
focus should be on my locality.
exactly. Well, I got burned on. I was pretty pro Maloney, and then look what happened. Like she was into anime and wanted to,
Don't
she was
trust women.
Italian. Yeah, don't trust women.
That's really all I can say. You can't
It was
trust
anime.
women.
It was pretty funny though. Yeah, exactly. See, you got it, Marbly. Exactly. How about Geert Wilders? There you go. Look what happened to him, man.
Yeah,
Like,
well, no, he just won today.
did he?
They have the largest majority in parliament right now.
But oh my god, that's crazy. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he cucked out on a lot of things too, though. That's he. Yeah.
To me, I guess it's just
I mean, I'd rather have him than the libtard opposition.
if they're going to do
Obviously.
anything to reduce migration into his country, then that has
Yeah.
my support.
Yeah. Yeah.
The browning of Europe and America should not happen, nor should it be Islamified. That full stop. End of
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah.
Oh, according to some Jihad Watch guy, apparently they found a Iranian passport near the car of the U.S.-Canada border. So,
Whoa!
hey, are you ready for more conveniently found passports at the end of major bombing and terrorist attacks? Doesn't that sound familiar, Gio?
Yeah, it really does, doesn't it?
It really does. I love
It's
this.
like they magically found the passport in the plane.
I called it Global War on Terror throwback. I called it. Here we
Yeah.
are. Right down to mysteriously found passports.
You know what's that's crazy that I think about it
Intact.
that your old man was in the Pentagon when that happened? That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Thank God he wasn't in the
Thank
you know
God he
what's
didn't. Thank God he didn't work in accounting.
but you know what's funny? Okay, listen, I don't know if we should say this for
He would have
YouTube,
been. He would have been
but
gone, man.
no, but you know what's funny is that the specific location that happened out of happenstance to get clipped in the Pentagon happened to be the finance wing. Very, very, very cosmic coincidence right there. You know what I mean, Prude?
Well, I'm of the school that there are no coincidences, but yeah,
Right? Right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No, but that's what I mean. Like out of all the departments in the Pentagon, it had to be the finance one that got wiped, that had a fire that that got bombed, that had you know what I mean? Like very,
yeah,
very. So people talk about that building 7, eh? How all the offices were in there that they had to do with like high finance and yeah. But I'm glad your old man made it though. That must have been. Did he tell you about what? Like it must have been chaos, right? Like that. Can you imagine that being there on the Pentagon that day? Like I can't imagine that. That's man. It was pure chaos, right, Prude?
yes.
Yeah. He called you right after. Did you? You didn't have to wait or
No,
anything.
we had to wait. We
Oh
thought
my
he
god!
thought he was dead for a while.
Holy crap! You must have been like what? Like
6.
I I was 8 years old. So yeah, you were 6 years old. Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they found the passport though.
How convenient.
They
How convenient.
the finance records got
How
burned.
convenient that a passenger airline could move so fast and not really be detected on security cameras and then
Yeah.
magically blow up the
Well, there
finance
was that
department.
one still, but that was it.
No one still.
Yeah.
How convenient.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. But they found an Iranian passport here, so
Yeah, what are the odds?
allegedly.
You thought it would have been an Indian guy considering Canada.
Domino's Pizza near what is this? Domino's Pizza near the Pentagon has been busier lately. Reliable sources tell me it's a sign for a new. How is Domino's Pizza being busy near the Pentagon? Does your
Because
old man frequent the Domino's?
there's a Domino's pizza in like the center of the Pentagon.
There
And like you can
is.
and you can track because like so you know how Google tracks like traffic, right? They just take their
Mm-hmm.
phones and they just tell by how many people are there. And that's how you can determine. Like that's why there's all those stories of like a guy just trailing a wagon of phones in like New York City to like create
Mm-hmm.
artificial traffic jams. So they're like, oh, if it's busier than usual, that means there's like a lot of stuff going on at the Pentagon at this time.
Oh,
Like I don't it's like it's a dumb metric, but I mean at the same time, it's just like a way to be like happening alert. He's pulling on the gem alarm. It's happening. Get in the bunker, and it's just like I don't know.
look at this! I found a time. That's a good one, John Carter. I found an Italian password in the clock toilet at the convenience store I stopped at. That's crazy, man. Like, no,
Especially
so
that
that
guy was
does.
Sicilian.
Oh my god. So that does explain the Domino's pizza thing.
Yeah, that's what that's about.
I wonder what Domino's pizza tastes like in the Pentagon. It must be.
I'm surprised that it's an actual Domino's because there
Have
used
you
to
ever been to the
be.
Pentagon, Prude?
I'm
Like,
trying to
did you see your old
remember.
man's office or no?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Do they let you do that? Like, you can bring your kid there to see their office or your
I'd
wife?
imagine. I don't know. I don't really remember. I couldn't tell you what all the policy was back. It's been like 20 something years.
um,
Um,
look, Inquisitor Z. Because they
I'm
work long hours. Expect the Italian doesn't know what working overtime is.
It's so true. He doesn't.
Oh man.
Um, I'm trying to
What?
like.
They have tours in the Pentagon, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah. That's crazy, man.
I'm trying to think of like what that fucking place is called.
Oh no, Matthew! Oh my
No.
god!
Oh,
I'm not putting that up on
oh,
screen.
I'm checking the call. Oh my gosh! I turned on chat and I saw that.
Did you see the Israelis? They demoed a pizza place because they had a hostage who was like a what survivor on the like I don't know. She didn't look like she was that distressed in the photo. Just they used this image of a random woman and they like bulldozed. Did you
So
see
like
that?
yeah, you had like Philly cheesesteaks place. That was called Charlie's. I'm trying to remember of
Yeah.
all the like shitty food I can remember like growing up with
Oh
on like
god.
food courts at military bases. What was the crappy pizza place called? I'm really trying to remember that.
They have the
Who
pizza
could ever help me
MREs now.
remember in chat, I'd appreciate it. There used to be really like it felt like an off-brand pizza place. It was like really shitty.
An military
Hold
family
on, hold on.
off-brand pizza.
I'm just gonna find it. Man.
Oh, look at John Carter. That's a good super chat. Save those super chats before we get to the. We're never getting to this.
We're never getting to that article.
Fast Bears Pizza in the
Sabaro,
military.
thank you,
What was
Sabaro.
it? Savaro. What the hell is
Thank
that?
you. God, that was gonna bother the living heck out of me. No, Sabaro is like a New York pizza chain, but I only associate it with like foreign for on post locations.
Yeah, that's like when you get like a pizza place that's like run by Vietnamese people and it's got that sauce that tastes a particular way, but it's like
I was a Maltier pizza. That's so true.
Maltier pizza. Yeah, like
Was it also Hunt's? That's a really great question.
man.
That
Is
may have
this like
been
brands that are on
no,
military bases?
no, maybe. I don't know. Like there was crap that was always like very explicitly like you knew that you were on post when it was like certain kind of shitty food.
They have MRE pizzas now. They perfected it. That it didn't go all moldy and all that. Yeah, Steve 1989 was reviewing one.
Well, I'm kind of okay with that.
Still looks like crap though, but it probably would be
You're
good.
there to eat a 3,000 calorie meal because you don't know when you're going to be eating again. That's what it's
Yeah,
there for.
that's what an MRE is for exactly. Yeah.
Just accept it.
You have to eat all components. You have to eat all components or else
You
it's not
have
going to
to.
work.
You're on post when you see 30% APR muscle cars. So true, Eric. When you see 30% APR muscle cars and a dude that's like 20 and he's like a spec 4 and he's like desperate to get out of the barracks, so he marries the first land whale he manages to sleep with at the bar.
He marries the first Latina. He's got a muscle car. He's got his draft bill. It's his American dream, really.
It really is the American dream,
Living like one of those shotgun houses.
Service guarantee citizenship for the like Mexican girl that you married outside of Fort Hood, whose mom's illegal.
People gave Scott Greer like so much flack for that one tweet, like especially boomers, but it was hilarious where he's like, if you die in the IDF, then your wife will like have an international campaign complete with like kitschy art where he's like begging for your sperm retrieval. In America, you get deployed, your Latina wife starts like cheating on you. The second the boots go
I
on
guess the
ground.
question is which one's better, the post-mortem cattle prod to the prostate, or dying knowing that like your Latina wife that doesn't stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance is cheating on you.
Oh my
I
god.
think one of those is the better option.
Do military wives in Jerusalem, do they also listen to Five Finger Death Punch or no?
I think they listen to Hava Nagila.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know.
Military wife metal. That's really great. I saw Five Finger Death Punch once, but it was only because I wanted to see Hatebreed that I endured Five Finger Death Punch. The Vomlet. Did you ever have a Vomlet, Prude?
Like the vegetarian omelet? No,
yeah,
I have not.
The infamous Iraq, Operation Iraqi Freedom Vomlet. Postmortem cattle prod to the prostate. That does sound like a cattle decapitation song. That does sound
like a metal song. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Kind of goes hard. I'm not. You know.
No, there's a great Israeli prog metal band called Orphan Lands. I wonder if like a IDF wife listens to. Well, no, I mean Israel's probably different because they all have to do military service. My finger prostate punch. Oh God.
That's actually really funny. That's actually really good. You should
Oh.
tweet that, Matthew.
Yeah,
It's really
Matthew, you
good.
should
Send
tweet that.
tweet. Send tweet.
My finger prostate punch. Did you well, you know about the whole I'm not going to talk about prostate orgasms. No, I'm not going to talk about that.
Oh, Gio, no. Come on.
Oh God,
We're
no.
not that bad. We're not that evil.
Well, you know, some men they do have prostatitis where it gets inflamed and they have to do something about it.
Yeah,
and-
when they're like 50.
Do you imagine like these old boomers? They have prostatitis and they get recommended by their doctor to like. Never mind. It's just
Oh, no. We're done.
you're not gonna think about this.
No, I'm not going to think about that because
It was like that. It was
I'm
like
thinking
that.
about all those poor 50, 60-year-old Ukrainians right now that are being drafted.
Oh man,
And they've got like
it's like
prostatitis.
it's like one of those. It's like your old man's gonna talk to you about it. Like it was like that one the potion, that one episode of The Simpsons where Abe Simpson he like he has this this like aphrodisiac potion that he invented or his father invented. And there's this one part he's like to Homer, he's like, "What? You don't like you're hearing your old man talk about having sex? I had sex."
Yeah, I don't think about it at all.
Well, you don't like your old man talking to you about having sex? Is that's
I don't think I've ever had that conversation
Me
except for the
neither.
first time I've had the talk.
I don't think I
And I was
think
like
I
in
had a
6th
talk.
grade, and that was the last time I've ever had a conversation about that issue at all. This is turning into the dark version of the Whatever podcast. No, because the dark version of the Whatever
We need-
podcast, the one woman asking a bunch of men like 60 million questions about intimacy.
We should have an e-girl on.
No,
Like that.
no,
Let's get Bronze Age
No.
Shoddy on.
no.
No.
I heard she had gotten fired from her job. I block
Yeah.
e-girls, so I only found out because of group chats. But anyways,
You know what? You know, Bronze Age Shoddy, she follows me. I can't be too hard on her. She's
I was going to
she's
say
a good
that-
girl.
I was
like
going
her.
to say that Man's World was asking for e-girls to write from them, and that they need their writing talents and their mediocre whats. And I think that that's a job for her.
Yeah.
She could write.
She's a good writer though. I gotta admit, that one piece about BAP, that was a good one.
I kind
ever
of knew
read-
everything I was going to get out of that article when in the first paragraph she says that she's 30 and childless and hasn't accomplished anything. I knew exactly what I was in for.
Oh my god. And that she heard about BAP from a man that she was fucking. That was
I'm okay.
Oh,
We're better than this.
oh man.
We're better than this.
We are better than this. But I got no hate for Bronze Age Shoddy, you know.
Oh,
Did you see
No,
that?
no.
Hanonia?
As soon as
Richard
John
Host-
Carter mentioned it in chat. Oh,
It's like 2014 TRS is getting back together. There's gonna be Miracu, Richard Host.
Richard Host and Holly Himmler have met together for Why Men Are Awful in 2023. It's a TRS Countercurrents crossover special, guys.
You're gonna bring back Gabby Goebbels. You know?
Just kill me.
Oh man, it's so hilarious. Out of the like that is like the Twitter troll par excellence, like crossover. Richard Hanania.
Richard Hanania saying, "I've learned how I can be better."
Oh man.
From a BPD former alt-right e-girl.
Oh my god. You know what's crazy about Hanania is that he went on Keith Woods' show, and like the second that aired, he like starts to chide Keith Woods on the TL. What are you doing? Like, at least wait. Like, there's some people that have been on my show that I probably, you know what I mean? Like, or I've been on podcasts, like Logo, right? Like, you know, we had a falling out or whatever, but like, at least take some time and wait before you have a falling out with someone. Oh, that was hilarious. Hanani is such a strange guy, though. I can't get around it. He's like
I would
strange
be
bird.
I would be exactly like him if I looked like that. Like, sometimes you can judge a
Oh,
book by its cover, and that's okay.
oh my god. That yeah. So it's been too. What else is there to talk about before we get to this article? Oh, some Chungus Bin Laden.
There
We'll talk
was
about
there's
that.
no such thing.
No, no, but I mean, you know what's funny is that okay, so me and Kat we recorded another episode of Computer Room, um, and I saw that our friend was going after my co-host. Okay, I don't know if I should say something about it, but no, no, I know. I mean, she could fight her own
Martin
battles.
quote tweeted her and said some of you were in based group chats with her. Like, he's done this with like half my mutuals at this point. Like, I just expect it, Martin.
Listen, Kat, she said, Gio, I'm a big girl. I can take. But anyways, we were recording this episode on other kids, and
I'm a big
and it,
girl. You're a big guy. Does
oh
that
my
hurt?
god.
You know, for you. Anyways, Bane posting aside. Talk about the letter to America. Well, what was it other than a bunch of TikToker women gave third world leftist talking points, being like, wow, Osama bin Laden was totally right. You know,
No,
imperialism and Zionism and settler colonialism and America's so evil, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, cool. Way to prove my point about women.
no, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, Prude, and you have to like really know TikTok to do this because, like, Kat, she's on TikTok like 3 hours a day.
God
I'm not
bless.
joking. She says this. So she said like the metrics on TikTok way bigger than Twitter in
Well,
terms of
yeah.
engagement, right?
That's why
So
they shut it down.
yeah, exactly. So, so like the engagement of like the few people that they were doing that were talking about the letter to America, like it didn't even track on TikTok as a trend. Like it was just like a small thing. But what happened is that like shithead journalists, they take what's happening in a small scale and they take a small slice of it and they make this big thing because they know that on Twitter that topic is going to track more in terms
Well,
of
it's like
bombastic
shithead
engagement.
journalists creating their own green texts that are racist and edgy in order to
Yeah,
have stories about how racist and edgy 4chan is. Like, this is why I don't care.
yeah, exactly. But what's funny is that it doesn't really track because like if you're trying to create like a left-wing wholesome Chungus version of Bin Laden, you have to like get rid of the anti-Semitism because
If
he's
you want,
not.
a left wing wholesome Chungus version of Bin Laden without the anti-Semitism, just get Patty Hearst.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
honest to
Exactly.
God,
Yeah.
for honest to God, like if the leftists wanted like their edgy terrorist like
They already
person
had
who
one.
they already had one. Like,
Yeah.
and honestly, she's like the first e-girl.
Oh,
You
she
know,
is. Well,
like,
Anaya Snin was, but like, yeah,
well,
she's one
still,
of them. Yeah,
but I mean, like,
still. Yeah.
if they were serious about this and it wasn't just some puffed up trend or whatever, uh, then yeah, cool.
Yeah.
You could have Patty Hearst.
That's what I mean. Like, imagine like Zoomers on TikTok discovering Patty Hearst. That would be like, or who is that like IRA woman that like the
You've said it.
libtard?
You've said it, and we may have just spawned a terrible creature into
Oh
existence.
God. Then Kathrine can write a tablet magazine article about it.
Oh yeah, the Jewish magazine.
Fuck.
That'd be actually kind of funny. Like, we're gonna talk about Patty Hearst's anti-Semitism because Zoomers are like putting it out.
But that's what I mean. Like Bin Laden, like he was explicitly like he didn't equate like the Israelis with white people. He equated them with the colonialism, but he was explicitly calling them out as a people, not because they're an extension of like white heterosexual patriarchy, heteronormative patriarchy, whatever, right? Like settler colonialism. But also, like, okay, he talked about environmentalism and Islam, and we
Yeah,
know
so
that.
like every like progressive
Yeah,
theory that leftists talk about today, and they're like, huh, the guy that what 9/11 and everything, like, hey, this guy had some good points. I don't know, maybe it's like the whole
well, it's like
the
we
left
say Ted
the,
Kaczynski
the
has a
left
good
the left I was about to say the left wing found their Ted Kaczynski.
they found their Linkola. No, but like a lot of like Zoomers, they probably would say, "Oh yeah, 9/11 was pretty base." Like it's, you know what I mean. Like it's. But the thing is, like, you have to like butcher so much about that letter to make it have like a coherency within like the leftist third worldist framework. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like it just doesn't make any sense. Like oh, the global caliphate would totally have signed the Kyoto Accords. It's like, you know,
The global caliphate would have totally signed on to the Paris Climate Agreement.
the Paris Climate Agreements. Yeah. Oh my god. By the way, you know what I forgot? I actually do have entropy, but I just how do you like? You got to tell me like how do you?
You gotta get onto their Discord server or email them to set up payments and to set up your info for payments. That way you can actually get paid. And if you make over $100 a month from Entropy, they'll pay it out in the first week of the next month.
I have to like literally contact. How do I contact them?
They
I
have
just,
an email on their website, and I can send you the link to their Discord server.
What do I tell them? I just like,
hey, I have an Entropy account I would like to get set up, and they'll talk to you privately.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's that simple.
And it's very intuitive. They just say like, here's what you have to do, and that's
yes, it literally took me like two or three emails, and it was done. It was great.
Nice.
Yes, boomer Gio moment, but also like in defense of Gio's boomer moment, I finally set up my Libsyn account, so now I can have audio formats of everything that I do. So now it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Libsyn, and I'm slowly uploading my back catalog along.
How much does that cost?
Well, I put the $20 a month plan for it.
But they say like if you have a big back catalog that it might cost money to like put.
It costs money if I wanted to like upload 3,000 megabytes of stuff in a month period. If I wanted to upload all my stuff, but that's okay. I'll slowly do it. It's not a big deal. But then I realized I need to do it because people are upset that I don't have this on audio platforms, and I realized that like smaller YouTube channels like fucking Jay Burden are on other platforms, and that's how people listen to him. So I got to like improve that and fix my game. So
yeah,
3 years late's better than never.
I have Spotify podcast. I used to be Anchor, but I wanted to go to Apple Podcast. I wanted to do Apple Podcast, but like I wonder like how you could do the paywall like version or just direct people to the paywall version, you know. So yeah.
Benjamin Braddock says, I think the car that exploded at the border was probably just a Tesla.
Oh god.
That's funny.
You know what's funny is that on TikTok and YouTube, I might as well just go get a TikTok, like, because I do like I want to up my game when I have time on the YouTube Shorts thing, and I might as well just go to TikTok. But it's funny because there's this genre of like cars being smashed into different things, and it's like this video game, whatever, and the running joke is that Tesla always gets destroyed. Like the guy that does it just hates Tesla, and so it's fun. I don't know why it's funny, but like that's the running joke. What is lip sync? What is that?
Yeah, that's Jesus. You put that up on the main. No, it's sort of the service where how Pete Quinones has his Libsyn thing where you can play episodes of his show, and then it's on other audio podcast platforms.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it just sort of syncs them all up.
And you have another version of this thing?
No, I use the same thing, and that's what syncs everything up to all these other platforms.
Maybe I might get it.
It's worth it.
Yeah,
especially because people are not always on YouTube.
Yeah, and it includes Apple Podcast, right?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
And they deal with all the crap about like you have to sign up and blah blah blah. And
yeah.
Because Apple Podcasts, I know you have to go through a third party like Libsyn. So
yeah. So it all worked out. I was also surprised that stupid meme thing I made the other day for a YouTube short was monetized because I utilized a political campaign song from George Wallace.
Yeah. Is there any other news? It's been 2 hours, so
wow.
A few super chats. I also have PayPal and Buy Me a Coffee, by the way, guys. If you want to donate directly, I have PayPal in the links. I have Prude's links down there.
Yeah, no, I agree. The most powerful films of the year.
But that's crazy that Geert Wilders won. That's So maybe do you want to do the article next week?
We can. That's fine with me.
Well, I know you got stuff to do today. It's almost like
Elon is also suing Media Matters. That also happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah, There
Thank
is no
God.
news, but there is.
Soros-backed Media Matters getting sued. That's crazy. I hate Media Matters, man. They're the worst. They've been at it for so long too. Is it true that Compact is being funded by Soros? That can't be true. That's just a rumor.
I don't know if that's true at all, and I'm not going to comment if I don't know about it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna. But I know Nicolas Sala was. He said someone informed me that they're being. It's like. Yeah, G Ward was like Douglas Murray becoming a PM.
Oh man.
Oh, did you see of that guy that deboomed pizza? That
And only got arrested for having cheese
cheap
pizza on his
cheese
computer.
pizza. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I did see.
that's hilarious. No, because it's true, man. It's
Gee, if you're debunking this, I would presume that you've got something to hide on your hard drive there, buddy.
yeah, that's true.
So yeah.
But
Da, 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 da,
so this is your final
da,
chance for
da,
the super
da,
chats.
da.
If you guys wanted to, give deep and give well,
Send them over.
there you
Send
go.
them right fucking now. Send him money or a manual typewriter.
For your only hope for the future.
Or this frog will end you.
I still have to send you season 1 of Kink.
Yeah, you're gonna have to send it over Telegram. I'll unfortunately watch it.
Yeah, I'll send you a mega link. Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, I wonder season 2 is better though, but yeah, season 1. Let's just do season 1.
I tried to warn you.
Yeah.
You kept funding the show. We got to episode 69. Look what you've done.
I'm not gonna lie, Prude. There's some moments you're gonna find just terrible.
Look what you've
There's
done.
some moments that you're gonna very, yeah.
Look what you've done.
there's this fat woman who's a BDSM educator.
And when did the show come out?
The first season, 2001.
Wow, they predicted the morbidly obese sex therapist educator by like 20 years.
Yeah.
I hate this place.
Oh,
Was this a Canadian television show?
Yes. It used to air after Kenny versus Spenny and Trailer Park Boys.
Kink television show. Yeah, Kink,
Yeah, it's
2001, 2005.
Mhm.
Wow.
It's an ancient history.
Documentary series. Golly. Canada.
It's this is ground zero. Yeah.
Canada.
You know what's funny is that in season 2, they went to the 2000, I believe 2002 or 2003 Pride Parade, and it was the exact moment where the Transformers took over the whole scene because they were more of a marginal interest, but it was the exact Pride Parade in the Tirana Pride Parade where the impossible women and impossible men took over. It was that exact ground zero moment in season 2 of Kink that you get to witness this piece of history. Yeah, look at the Prude Jack. Look at that. Oh my god. You're gonna be in for a wild ride, man. I'm not joking. It's yeah. But it's nostalgic in some ways for me though. It's old Canada. It's it's there's one season where they actually go to Niagara Falls and
we can see the bridge before it was bombed.
Yeah. That's so crazy because it's I could think of myself how many times I crossed that bridge, and now I know what it's like to be an American and thinking about well, there could be a mass casualty that it could happen. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But today we did this on Wednesday because it's tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and I know there's a lot of very, very terrible things happening in the world. And just to be clear, I wasn't totally counter signaling Malai. I hope he manages to destroy the well entrenched leftist power in Argentina. But I just think that there can be a more meaningful rightist critique of capitalism that I feel is being overlooked. But anyways, so hopefully everyone has a Thanksgiving. I am not American. I had my Thanksgiving, but Yeah, so sneed those super chats, and all our links are down below. All of Prude's links to his Subscribe Star, his Buy Me a Coffee, his Entropy link, and of course my Patreon and my Substack and Prude's Substack as well. So yeah, there you go. And next week I will come back with Content Minded. I have but 3 chapters to go in my book, so I'll hopefully get to editing it, and then I have to pay someone to edit it as well. So we'll see what happens. I'm kind of depressed though in a way, because you work on something for so long. It's like when you're an artist or you're a creator, and then it's like you're acquainted with something every single day, and then it's like you have to like send it off. It's weird. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like you birth something, and then you're no longer with it every single day. It becomes
Godspeed, you fat emperor. So true, Matthew. So true.
Godspeed, you fat emperor. We're in the belly of a terrible beast that's dying, that's bleeding to death. You know? That was such a great album by Godspeed You Black Emperor.
So true.
But anyways, any last things that we wanted to cover? What other news was happening before we get to super chats?
That's a great question.
The fat woman from Nepal.
Is Trudeau gonna come out as gay?
Well, he was in the doghouse. So apparently, his wife, what's her name? Not Sophie. Sophie was his mother. Is her name Sophie?
Sophie Trudeau, I think so.
Oh, sorry. Gloria was his mother.
Okay.
No, wait. Oh my God. Trudeau ex-wife.
No.
Not Pierre Trudeau, not Margaret Trudeau. Sophie Grenier Trudeau. Yeah, I was right. Sophie is Trudeau Jr. Yeah, Sophie is the ex-wife of Justin. Apparently, she went back to her old lover, so he's totally cucked. It's totally over for Justin Trudeau. And I think if he's a confirmed bachelor for more than a year, then I probably will entertain the gay allegations.
Him and that and the Sam Altman stuff, yeah.
Oh yeah, but I don't know anything. I don't know enough about the open AI thing. Do you know about the Sam Altman thing?
I do not. I just don't think that Sam Altman is completely human looking, and it's a little weird.
Well, the fact that they brought him back after dismissing him, that tells you something.
Techno-socialist cults, yeah, it's bad.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But at least someone competent's running it still, you know. What do they do, OpenAI? What do they do? They run the AI program,
Well, they're leading the advances of, you know, GPT and stuff like that. I almost said HPD.
AGI, artificial general intelligence.
It just seems like some really nice kayfabe, but I don't know enough about it to have an opinion. So
I wonder what government agency's paying them to do this.
Well, I was gonna go to Microsoft, but who knows?
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, why did they get rid of Sam Altman? Did they try to like Me Too him or something? What happened?
I do not know, and so I'm just going to. I do not know enough to give you a totally informed opinion, so I'm going to shush.
Yeah, Landium Bliss Vector. There you go. Yeah, you know what's funny? I almost watched the whole. I got to watch the rest of it. The 5-hour EVE Online doc. Have you ever played EVE Online, Prude?
No, I have not.
You're not a fantasy game guy?
Oh,
what do they consider a fantasy?
Well, that would be like a 4X game, right? But like it's a vast MMORPG with an economy and real-time stuff, and millions of dollars have been spent into it as long as it's existed. Isn't that Frederick Knudsen guy? It's like a 5-hour documentary.
Mm-hmm. He spent 2 years making this thing.
I don't know if I have time to watch that.
Well, I watched it in bits and pieces.
I mean, I totally have time to watch that. I mean, I'm a patrician TV patron. Like, of course, I have time to watch long form content. I just, I don't know.
I'm just not a gamer. But if I were like, I don't know if I'd have the brain power to play that game though. That seems so complicated. Maybe I would if I would have like got into it early in the neuroplasticity of when you're a kid, you know.
Maybe.
But I was stupid when I was a kid, so I couldn't have.
Have we done an episode on land? We've done an episode on Xenosystems Fragments, and that is
Yeah, did
ancient
2
episode
episodes.
history. Yeah, we've done 2 episodes on land.
So we've done a land episode.
Yeah, we've done a land
But
episode.
what's the most complicated game you've ever played, Prude?
Oh, that's a really, I guess, I don't know. I've played a variety of 4X games, so I mean, I've played most. I don't think Paradox is completely difficult. Like, is the hardest thing I've played. Are we talking like in terms of like mechanically complex? I don't know.
Yeah, like mechanically complex. Yeah.
That's a great question. I don't know. I'd have to seriously think about that. Mechanically complex, I guess it would be like the 4X games I've played. So I guess like Stellaris, I guess, is up there along with a few others. But I don't know. Like,
Gary Smod.
I don't know, like getting a really good city skyline city that doesn't suck ass in terms of infrastructure can be a pain. But
yeah.
I mean, I guess like 4X are always going to be far more difficult to
like technically proficient. You'd have to be.
Yeah. So I mean,
that's what I mean. Like I always wanted to play DayZ. Maybe if I ever got into video games. Yeah.
I haven't played, but I've heard that Humankind is a little difficult sometimes to pick up on very early.
Oh yeah.
What else have I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've played. I guess I grew up with these games. Like I've played Alpha Centauri. I've played Civ when I was younger, so I guess I'm just used to it. I guess.
Interesting.
I don't know, but like it's stuff that I wouldn't like stream or whatever because I know that that's not.
Well, it can be very long and tedious and boring. Yeah.
Yeah, like no one wants to watch me micromanage like one part of the map for like 20 years, like 2 hours.
Like Civ 3 or whatever.
You know.
Yeah. What was your favorite Civ game?
Civ 4 is the one I spent the most time on.
Interesting. When did that come out?
Civ 4 came out. When did that come out? 2005.
People still play Civ 4 or no?
No, most people usually play Civ 6 is the latest one that came out. Although Civ 5 is the one that I own. So and Firaxis is great. I like Firaxis games. Because they did all of the remakes or sequels, spiritual reboots of XCOM, which I quite enjoyed.
Oh yeah,
like XCOM Enemy Unknown is still, and then they cranked up the difficulty in XCOM 2. It's a pain in the butt, but it's worth playing. It's a lot of fun.
I feel like when you're a millennial, that if you grew up with a certain trend, it sort of like cements in you, and like you got to like you probably missed out on everything else. Like, say if you were a kid that grew up on WoW or Halo or like EVE Online, like you sort of or like me, it was like pro wrestling. So
yeah,
I
definitely grew up with a lot of shooters and then strategy games. I never played an MMO. I never played or got into like Dragon Ball Z or any anime or things like that. So I guess it just does depend on what you liked and what your
path you get. What path you get slotted on. Yeah, but everyone played shooters though. I mean, I like the only video games I really played was like GTA and Call of Duty.
And it's funny because like I just keep on Fridays I stream games and those go behind the paywall when I'm done. But like I've just been replaying all the Half-Life games. So this Friday I'll probably stream Blue Shift, and then after that we'll be done with the Half-Life collection, and then we'll move on to Half-Life 2. It'll be great.
You know who also is a fan of Half-Life? Osama bin Laden.
Oh my. All right. Yeah. Well, shall we get to the super chats, Gio?
Let's get to the super chats. All right. Hopefully everyone's will have a good Thanksgiving. So let's see if I have any PayPal ones. No, I don't. So let's see. If my voice is still funny, it's because of I'm still a bit congested from the clown vid. So our good friend Lou Templar for $5, he's making a list. He's checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's posting coal or spice. Gio's coming to town. There you go. She just said coming to town, but that was very good. Thank you, Lou Templar. I like that comment. And for $5, Marbly, no comment. Hope everyone's staying healthy out there. Well, you too, Marbly. Hope everyone's staying healthy out there. And for $5, Corb, I do it like I'm basically like someone just recorded me and I kept playing it over and over again. So Corbin for $5 was Nixon criminally underrated. I agree. What do you think, Prude?
Could have gone further, but
yeah, he could have gone further.
Nixon knew the threat, and I guess he didn't neutralize it, which was the civil service. And there's recordings of him and Kissinger talking about it. But no, Nixon's great. But it depends on how much. It depends on how much you want to like balance his relationship with
China.
Well, no, I was thinking Senator Moynihan. But other than that,
oh
I mean,
yeah.
If it's 1968 again, I think I would take the Wallace pill.
Who you would?
I don't know.
You'd vote for Wallace over Nixon?
Well, I mean, Nixon wins in the end, but I don't know. Federalism's a good thing,
But I thought you were pro Nixon.
I am. Well, not but I mean,
but if you had a choice back then,
if I had a choice back then, maybe I would have chosen Wallace. I don't know.
Well, what would have swayed you? Is it just like if you were the same age back in like the late 60s, what would be Wallace's thing that would sway you?
The Great Society was a mistake, and
basically,
like our '68 election was 2020, and except they didn't have to Watergate Trump; they just had to have some conveniently.
Yeah.
But I know Nixon's great, and I probably would have ended up supporting him. But
but he did sleepwalk through the civil rights era, though. Like that's the thing. Like
I don't know how on earth you're not going to be able to avoid that issue.
That's what I mean. Like between Nixon and then with Reagan, I mean, well, Reagan ignored a startling amount of things: abortion, civil rights. Yeah. Like I mean, yeah. That's But the alternative to Reagan who was the Republican alternative to Reagan in 1980?
George H.W. Bush.
Oh my God. Okay, so was Buchanan out of the scene by then?
Buchanan was not running for president in 1980.
No. When did he run for president?
92, 96, 2000.
Okay. Do you think if he would have ran earlier, the Paleocons would have had a shot before Reagan?
Probably not.
Yeah. It was all over by 1980 then.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, I don't know if it was over, but certainly.
Yeah, the damage was done. Yeah.
Damage was certainly done.
Man, that's fascinating. Wallace would have been based.
Well,
who was the Democrat that Nixon beat?
Oh God, Hubert Humphrey, right?
Yeah. He was kind of a loser, though.
Am I right? Or he's the former vice president. He did run he ran in 68. Okay, I'm not completely stupid. Okay, yeah, he did run in 68. And then I think he was what's the word I'm looking for? What else did he do? I think he ran for office afterwards, or back to Senate.
Who was Johnson's VP?
He was the VP of Lyndon Johnson.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
But
for like 14 months, there was no vice president. There was no vice president.
And
McGovern ran in 72.
Interesting. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, McGovern.
But like Buchanan was Nixon's Steve Bannon, like communications,
Yeah.
So long.
But that's what I mean. Like, have you or like P. Quinones or Thomas or whoever has there been like sort of people like digging up like what the public debate was during the civil rights era, like or Republicans in the 70s, like after Johnson? Was there like any record of like the debate that people were having where like people weren't open about criticizing it, or like that would be fascinating to look into.
I don't know. I don't know. That is a good question.
Yeah,
because there is an untold like we have these like mythologies about the civil rights movement. I mean, everyone knows that like MLK is a Christ-denying, plagiarizing reverend philanderer, but Thomas have done 3 episodes on Nixon, so I haven't listened to them yet. Yeah, but I have read Buchanan's book on Richard Nixon, and it's a fantastic read.
Wow. Well, he worked with Nixon, so
Yeah.
that's yeah, he was his yeah, like you said, he was his Bannon. So yeah,
That's
that
what John
I
Carter in chat said. But yeah, no, I mean, I would have probably voted Nixon, but
that would have been
the
that would
HBD take in me. It's just like, well,
no, but the book by Buchanan on Nixon, that'd be probably an interesting read.
yeah, you should read it.
Yeah. Oh, you read it?
Yeah, I own it. I have like every
Oh,
book
nice.
Pat Buchanan's ever read or written.
I have a few books by him. I have like I remember like when he was on McLaughlin Group, the way he would say it. I don't know why it sticks in my mind. Suicide of a superpower. Like that was the way man. God bless that man. He was right about everything. So our good friend Scribe, and by the way, this is my favorite permutation of Scribe's avatar is the helper Peppy playing with the action figures. For $5, I took both pills and now I'm stuck in Peronis, Argentina. Oh God. Oh no.
No,
Well,
no.
hopefully. Well, I will say one thing. Malai is keeping his promise to get rid of the gender equality department. That was like his first act in office.
Yep. So good on him.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I was getting a bit too hot there, but I don't
No, you
know.
need to have healthy skepticism.
Yeah, yeah.
That's needed in all things.
Um, but I do admit there is something that Mart said. Libertarian in Argentina does mean right wing, as opposed to nationalism. So, like, I mean, in my book, I even read about like the difference. Like, you have to talk about this in the North American context when you use the word neoliberal. But anyways, oh boy, for $10 by our good friend Corbin. Thank you, Corbin. Oh my God. What is oh, see, there you go. I totally spaced out that he asked this. What does third worldism mean, and what does people? Well, okay, it means many things to many different people, but generally people mean. Well, you probably take the what I think is that what people mean is this sort of like in the right wing, like the third worldism could denote a number of different things. It could mean like literal third world socialism, or it could just mean like a sort of pastiche of third worldism where you're like worshiping quote unquote based non-Western dictators or whatever. But third worldism has a history in Marxism. Marxist third worldism comes out of Maoism and it basically denotes the revolutionary struggle of different peoples in the global south. But in our context, what people mean by third worldism, they mean people like, well, you know what I mean? They mean like the whole like like
So
I don't
so
know how much
Corbin's question for those listening audio only: what does third worldism mean, and what do people mean when they use it?
yeah.
Gio's got a point where it's got a variety of meanings. It's got a root in Maoism, and you've seen this throughout the Cold War, where there is a history of supporting revolutionary socialist groups, the Popular
Post-colonial
Fronts, the
regimes.
International, yeah.
Yeah.
But it also refers to sort of that liberation theology that you see out of like Central and South America during the Cold War that was heavily
Yes.
socialist or socially democratic. When I see people using it, I usually refer to it in the context of promoting a revolutionary or national or alien cause that is not of your own people for the purposes of being against, say, the United States government or the
Yeah.
current regime of the USG.
Or
And
degeneracy or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, and so you see this a lot with, say, like the MAGA communist crowd that, like, well, if we reject the shackles of, say, the United States government and international finance, then, this means that we can leave the charge at home and we can learn from them on how to do these things. And so they get totally invested in these movements across the globe, and this is how you get like the Jackson Hinkles of the world saying we can learn from Stalin, we can appreciate the communism of China to apply it to the United States and make America great. And to me, that is just very xenophilic and love of the alien. It's Joe Sobrin's alienism. And to me, it's a very good example of what not to do. Like, again, this goes back to the telescopic sympathy thing. If you're looking through the looking glass so much that you just get a hard on for other countries and their own efforts and you're not doing anything for your own stuff at home, you've completely failed.
Yeah.
So that's how I would define it.
That's the colloquial term of third worldism. Yeah. So that was a good one, Prude. That was a good one. Yeah. That was
a good
like the way
question.
you laid it out. Yeah, it's a good yeah.
I mean, no, thanks Corbin for asking that question because there needs to be good working definitions of these things.
and you'll see on the TUL like people like they'll respond to like BAP or they'll respond to Nick I mean Autumn Griper. And the don't wanna, like people go back and forth and all these different sides, and it's like you're a third worldist. No, you're a third worldist. No, you're like a secret neocon. No, you're a secret neocon. You know, stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself. Sometimes, like when I see these things on the TL, that's what I think. It's like literal children that are like, stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself. It's like, when you take someone's arm and you like, when you were a kid,
Yeah.
stop hitting yourself.
What
Did
are
you
the
used to
other
do that,
kind?
Prude?
Yes, to some extent. I was.
Well, you had
Anyway,
younger brothers, right?
I do have 2 younger brothers.
There you go.
What are the other nice people giving you money have to say, Gio?
All right, let's move on. I'm not touching. I used to do that to my old man. He used to fucking freak out. That was. I'm not touching. I'm not touching. I'm not touching. It's like you hover around your finger.
Are you an only child?
Yes, I'm an only. People don't know this. I'm an only child.
I just had to. I just had to ask.
That was funny because like you do those things like you'd ask why all the time, and sometimes you go like a whole hour just asking why, and it's like, oh man. I remember one time. I shouldn't admit this in public. I remember one time.
But he's going to admit it anyway.
When I was
just
a
like
kid,
the bike.
When I was a kid, we were in public somewhere, and I was doing the Y game, and there was this kid that may have been the same age as me. I must have been like 5 years old, and he had like a cochlear implant, and he didn't like have an ear, right? And I kept asking why, and my old man gave me this like very serious, like thought out answer, right? But like but I was playing the Y game, so it's like it wasn't like I was asking specifically. I was just doing it to do it. You know what I mean? And I always think about that. You know what I mean? Like I was like not genuinely concerned, but it was just I was playing that stupid why game where you keep asking your parents like why, like it. So like I always remember that kid had a cochlear implant, and of course I didn't know what the fuck a cochlear implant was back then. But like, yeah, I always remember. You know, remember those moments where you're an asshole when you're a kid. You remember those moments
more than I'd like. More than I'd like to admit.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know how to swim though, Gio?
Oh yeah, I know how to swim.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty good swimmer.
He's not completely black.
Black people don't know how to swim?
No, actually, most of our like CDC warnings about drowning are in the nicest way possible, trying to tell black people to be careful around pools.
What the fuck? I didn't know this. What?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's a thing. Like African Americans don't know how to swim.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
The fatal drowning rate of African American children is 3 times higher than white children.
What? Oh my god. Yeah. I guess racism does win every time, as Nightmare Vision says on I didn't know this. This is incredible. This is crazy. I loved swimming when I was a kid, man. I still like swimming. You know, sometimes you have those moments where you're like floating on the water.
Yeah.
It's like you just could hear, the water. It's like, anyways, let's move on. For 5, I'm incredible by this racist explainer of like why is that though? I have some sociologists trying to explain like why black kids don't learn how to swim, or is it just like a genetic thing, or is it like a cultural thing, or
Johnny has a great answer.
Let me see, Johnny. Where is it? It's because your dad teaches you. Oh my god.
They don't season their pools.
They don't season the pools. Well, the pools do. The public pools do get seasoned, but
with chlorine
and other things.
Urine.
Yeah, that's why your eyes sting when you. It's not chlorine that stings your eyes. It's the urine. I saw that in Interesting Facts YouTube short. You know that guy? It's like the same AI voice. Interesting Facts. Oh man. Like millions of people watch these YouTube shorts. Anyways, Lou Templar, our good friend for another wait, is it Lou Templar? Sorry, I have to scroll down. Third worldism. Here we go. Yeah, I was right. Lou Templar for another $5. Palestinians Minecrafted bridge to Canada just now. Sorry, Gio, no escape. Do you think it was the Palestinians or was someone
I think this was before the news about
an Iranian passport?
The Iranian passport. How fucking convenient.
But it could be about. I mean, let's face it is about Palestine if it's an Iranian passport, if it's real. But I mean, yeah, how convenient, right? Like, it's just. Can you imagine if they tried to blame this on white supremacy, though? If it was if it was a Roscoe Jethro passport from Alabama,
get sad.
Sorry, for Arkansas, it was from Arkansas. Roscoe Jethro.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Gab Sad was boosting that thread about from that British Israeli or whatever.
That's
that thread was wild, man.
Anyways,
let's not talk about it on YouTube. And oh my god, for $9.99 by Wrestling with Wormwood. We'd love to see you guys do some film or TV analysis. We have done that, Wrestling with Wormwood.
We've done quite a few.
Yeah.
We reviewed the Teen Apocalypse trilogy, one of our earliest episodes reviewing 3 Ryan Gosling films. I made Gio watch every single Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks movie from the 1990s. We reviewed an anime.
Yeah.
Our back catalog, which you can find conveniently on the playlist I have here on YouTube. You can go watch those. Those are great.
You know, I never watched that one Ryan Gosling romance film, not The Notebook. What was it called? Blue Valentine?
I haven't seen that one, to be honest.
I haven't seen that one. But I think it was Astro that was posting about it. Or was it it may have been Zante. But could be Kino. Happy Thanksgiving. Well, you know, I know John Carter wanted to pay me $300 to review that one Mormon erotic book. What was it called? I have it here on my tabs.
Stoking with Sally.
The Shunning by Louis Beverly.
Oh.
You know, John Carter, if you wanted to donate to my PayPal $300, I will review The Shunning by Louis Beverly.
He says we should. Alt-right Vegner says we should just because it's a bummer. Okay.
Yeah.
Can't be any more of a bummer than like the ending to La La Land.
Yeah, La La Land's ending was review Twilight. Maybe for $300 we would.
Yeah, for $300, sure.
But you know, if John Carter, I will take you up on that offer. If you wanted to donate to my PayPal, I will review The Shunning. I will have a standalone video. Yeah, so Niagara 411 is also reporting on the Iranian passport. So
oh, hell.
There you go. Wow, I can't believe it. I live so close to a terrorist attack now. That's crazy.
I can relate.
I can relate. Oh, God. That's terrible, man. That's terrible. But anyways, I hope nobody are they reporting any casualties or no?
I think just the driver.
Well, he probably deserved it. Unless he was a stooge, then unless he was a Manchurian candidate, then But thank God nobody got hurt though, because some of those border agents are quite nice. This one guy I had, he was like a boomer con. He was like asking because he found out I was a podcaster because they ask you like how you met, blah blah blah, and he was like going on about Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh, and I'm like, out of all the border agents, I had to get like the normie con. That was pretty funny. This is back in the summer. It was pretty hilarious. But for $5 by New Gloff, what are you guys' thoughts on Project 2025? It's kind of become the latest lefty boogeyman. What is Project 2025? Is this like some Tucker Carlson thing, or like what is this?
No, this is the Heritage Foundation's plan to reshape the U.S. federal government in case we win in 2024. And it's basically what I was talking about earlier about how to, more or less take out the federal civil service and to invoke the Insurrection Act to basically sack everyone that betrayed the Trump administration in 2016.
I agree with that.
And I mean, like, I don't think it's gonna happen.
I did see leftoids freaking.
But this is why I'm pro-Trump. Like, I don't care about what Trump says or posts on Truth Social. I care about the guys that are willing to do Project 2025.
Yeah. I forget which big leftoid account it was. It may have been like, was it like Chris Matthews or yeah. It was on MSLSD. They were freaking out. I know that's such a Michael Savage talking point, MSLSD, but they were freaking out that Trump's going to like redact people and like throw libtards in jail, and like
God,
he
I
was gonna
wish.
be a dictator for life. Like
I
it,
wish.
I wish, yeah, it was no, but it was like Chris Matthews and
Mm.
Brzezinski's daughter there. What's her name? Mika Brzezinski.
Yeah, Mika or whatever.
Remember when
Well, it's like
Russell
it's.
Brand?
Do you remember all those advertisements, like the anti-Trump ads, where it's like, "This is what'll happen," and the news headlines if Trump is in office, and it's like
Oh yeah,
deportations start today, like gay marriage banned, and I'm just like,
based.
you can only excite me so much in a political sexual way that it's just straight up like I want to live in their nightmares. I
Well, that's
wish my
one thing
world was their
Malai said.
nightmares.
Yeah, that's one thing Malai said. He would repeal gay marriage in Argentina. So I hope he does. But but the problem with that, Prude,
What?
is that it would lead to authoritarianism, according to noted LGBTQ plus II rights advocate James Lindsay.
Well, James Lindsay would be like deported.
James Lindsay, aka noted LGBT plus QII activist, James Lindsay.
Yeah, noted new atheist, noted gay rights activist James Lindsay.
Gravantis reminded me of that.
I love him so much. He's one of my favorite posters on Twitter.
We can have him on the show. He used to come on BTR back in the day.
We should
FTR.
have him on. He and I
Yeah.
DM every now and then. I
There you
kind of
go.
feel bad because like I'll retweet something of his that I like really like, and then some like really racist reply guy, and I'm like, I really don't want to subject Gravitas to this because he's got
People
a
used to.
relatively clean account.
Yeah. People used to think Gravantis was a black guy.
I thought he was non-white for a long time.
Do they just like confuse him with Patriarch Prime? Is that what it was?
Yeah, they do because they're both Orthodox.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was funny. And then he came on FTR and he was like a white guy with a beard. So dank
No,
for
yeah, no, yo, mama, yeah. Gravitas is white. It kind of threw me because I've never seen his face because I didn't watch BTR back then. And
yeah.
so like when he had that show with Luke Kendrat, who Orthodoxy First, who's in seminary right now, and I saw his face, I was like, oh, that's kind of a pleasant surprise.
I felt bad because like he kept getting interrupted. I mean, everybody did, but Gravantis would like sit there patiently, but then he'd just like drop a hot take after like an hour of patiently waiting. That was hilarious. But anyways,
yeah, he's a good guy.
Oh yeah, dank for $5, pennies for patronage. Thank you, boys. If anyone's in the greater Columbus, Georgia, is Columbus, Georgia, right?
Yeah. There's the Columbus, Georgia.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Auburn, Opelika, Atlanta
Alabama.
region. Oh, Alabama region. Please hop on basket weaving so we can link you. Well, Dank, I might have some good news for you because apparently the NHL they're thinking of doing another hockey team in Atlanta again. They tried like 3 times in like 30, 40, 50 years. They tried for 3 times to have a, I remember the Thrashers were pretty all right back in the day, but yeah.
Anyways, yes, go find the basket weaving server. It sounds like Dank Dark is looking for friends. So if anyone's in remotely near that area, hop on and go do so.
There you go.
But
there might be a basket weaving thing in Georgia.
There is. There's definitely some in Georgia.
Oh yeah. But or they're thinking about either that or Salt Lake City. Can you imagine a Mormon hockey team? That would be something else.
Salt Lake City Soakers. I gotta milk that joke for as long as I can. It's kind of funny.
Salt Lake City Soakers. What would you name them? The Salt Lake City Morminas? Is that could be? No, that's too much.
New team in Salt Lake City. I'm looking it up.
They were thinking of it. They were thinking of it. Yeah.
Because like Salt Lake City in the run for a new MLB, and we've reported also the NHL has a new. Oh, interesting.
Do they have a football team, Salt Lake City?
No, they have the Utah Jazz though, which is a basketball.
Oh, there you go. It's basically. Do they have a football team in Utah?
I don't think Utah has an NFL team.
That's crazy considering Utah's population. That's weird.
Anyways.
I guess hockey could take on there, like it took on in Arizona and in Texas, so you never know.
All right, so what's the next super chat, Gio?
Sorry, I keep getting distracted. Sam153 for $10. For your recovery, Gio. Cheers. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I survived COVID 3 times now, so thank you very much, my good friend. And for $5 from Corbin again, imagine the Ukraine conflict if other countries banned conscription and affirmed the right to exist. Well, yeah, imagine that. Oh, and here is a spicy one from John Carter for $4.99. They had to put a Domino's in the Pentagon as plausible deniability for all the emails about cheese pizza. That's funny.
Good Lord.
No, I think like the state.
That is funny. I mean, that's funny, but it's also like,
yeah,
hundreds of like at least like tens of thousands of people work in the Pentagon every day. I'm not surprised that there's the Domino's in there.
probably. Yeah, they have a Burger King maybe.
Yeah, they do.
Oh,
Pretty
nice.
sure. Hold on, Burger King in the Pentagon.
Just type in.
There is,
Pentagon.
yeah, there is one in the Pentagon.
Oh my God, Pentagon cafeteria. It's got Burger King and
yeah, 1730
Domino's.
Military Parkway. There you go. Best
Nice.
food place ever. Broiled burgers are always better than fried. Best hamburger ever. There's like 5 stars, 3 in a row. Oh, that's a little sketchy.
Nice. Yeah, that. Well, I mean that can be a bit sketchy. The Pentagon may have had the back door to Yelp. So, but anyways,
you just post a Google review.
or Google. Well, they have a back door to Google. They could easily do that.
Absolutely.
So people don't know that, but people should know that. Anyways, oh my God, $20 by Mike of Paul, our good friend. Gio, you ruined my wallet. I took your advice and switched to American Spirits, and I can't tolerate cheap darts anymore. At least I didn't get stuck on the Hestia train. What did you expect? The guy was a Jewish libertarian. What did you guys expect? But then again, if you're marketing base cigarettes, then don't spill your spaghetti.
Yeah, like it kind of made it funny. Like, we are a sort of like new wave, culturally libertarian kind of like market. Let's go make tobacco profitable to like right wingers again, and then like lo and behold, this is what you do. I don't know. It's dumb.
I didn't think Isaac Simpson should have caught a stray for that one, because he's just a marketing guy.
But he is their marketing guy, which means he is the one that has to PR for Hestia.
Yeah, he should have.
And I've already told my story about Isaac Simpson, so like I didn't know he was Jewish until he told me like 2/3 into an interview I had with him, and I was like, oh, trying really hard not to act surprised. Like, I had no idea.
I always knew. He said it. I think I always, he was very upfront. But one day I'll release my episode with him on Content Minded. But yeah. So, anyways, I keep people. Every guest I has to catch strays. But anyways, oh my God.
Maybe that's a reflection of who you invite on.
Maybe true. But anyways, for
I can't.
You bastard!
I can't put that one on screen. That one was funny though. Thank you, Johnson.
Oh, which one? Oh,
the one you can't put on there. Anyways,
wait, is there a super chat?
No, it was just in chat. But let's just carry on, Gio. Carry
Messing
on.
with Wormwood, or was it by a? I actually
doesn't matter. Just carry on. Carry on.
I think it's great that you do. Oh! That was like that one Oprah Winfrey interview. It's like, they made us into sausages. Remember, like.
Oh, it was like that thing that Jay Burden recently quote tweeted. She's like, "I'm not gonna celebrate Thanksgiving with white people. You used to eat us," and like he did the whole Sargon thing. I wouldn't even eat you.
Yeah. Someone posted the someone posted the bull the pit bull at the dinner table with the Oh man. And for our good friend Capitalissimo for $6, I'm saying $6, but I really want you to say $5. Well, thank you, Capitalissimo. And for Micah Paul for $5, you need to switch channel schedules for your DA so I can afford to send some love Prude's way and not miss Rent. Well, maybe we'll have an earlier episode on Prude's channel one day.
Yeah.
Thank you, Micah Paul. And $5 by Seasider. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Seasider. Although I am Canadian. So happy Thanksgiving to all Americans. And $4.99 by Subject to Change. Love me, Gio. Love me, Prude. Simple as. And for $1 by Yo, I shouldn't be that enthusiastic for $1, but thank you, Yo Mama.
Oh, you don't want to turn into TJ Kirk.
Yeah, or Stefan Molyneux. TJ Kirk did it before Stefan Molyneux. People remember Stefan Molyneux. Oh my God, John Carter, what are you doing? What are you doing?
That's funny.
$4.99. FMK turkey stuffing cranberry sauce.
Well, you got to kill the turkey to eat it.
Yeah.
Stuffing's delicious, so I guess marry that, and I guess we'll just screw the cranberries. There you go.
You know, I never used to like stuffing, but then I had it a few years ago. It was quite good.
Thanksgiving food's good. I wish people. It's great stuff.
And I'm not a fan of turkey. I mean, if it's there, I'll eat it.
Turkey's fine. I think the problem that most people have with turkey is that turkey has, well, because you've I guess you fucked it up. Like, it shouldn't be dry.
No,
like,
but my aunt
turkey can be a very moist bird, and it can be good.
Yeah, but I mean, but with the cranberry sauce, it is quite good though.
Yeah, I agree.
And finally, Yo Mama for $2, Salt Lake City Danites. Oh God.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I still tweeted out the Salt Lake City Soakers joke.
Can you imagine what would that hockey logo look like? What would that look like? That would be
it would be a bed on a seesaw.
That's too much. Oh yeah, and hello for 0 super sticker. Thank you, hello. So wow. The Salt Lake City Soakers. Moist bird. Moist.
That's a moist bird.
The OG dark meat.
The OG dark meat.
Oh, there you go. We got another one for, oh my God, $15 by John Smith. God bless and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Thank you, John Smith.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated.
I was a second away from reading Joseph Smith on his name, but it was John Smith. So it's like, wouldn't that be ironic, Joseph Smith? You think Joseph? Yeah, Joseph Smith approved hockey. That would be a good move though if they did a team at Salt Lake City, because think of it, they don't have a football team and they only have a basketball team. So there you go.
I'm surprised that Utah doesn't have a
football team.
A hockey team.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, because Utah, you'd figure, could be a hockey town.
I mean, it's colder and you've got the lake.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, hey, that's why, like, Austin Matthews from the Maple Leafs, he grew up because they had a team in Arizona because it was owned by Wayne Gretzky, or it was owned by Wayne Gretzky. That's how he went into hockey. Because as a kid that was born in California that grew up in Arizona become a hockey fan. Anyways, so what's I'm probably gonna have a solo variety show next week, but what are your plans, Prude? I mean, you had a video today, and yeah, so what's
the video today? Long Road to a Mirror. I've got my ongoing series breaking down Stalin's War. I sent an email to Sean McMeekin to see if I could interview him about his book. I sent an email to John J. Mearsheimer to see if I can interview him. No hope for either of those two emails to ever be replied to, but we'll see. Tomorrow, of course, is Thanksgiving, so I will be off the air, and I will be at church and with my family as well, so I'll be busy then. This coming Friday, I will be on with Apostolic Majesty, covering the life and the career of the great Robert E. Lee. So myself, Charlemagne, and Apostolic Majesty will be there together. Friday nights, I usually do a little bit of gaming, so we'll be playing through Half-Life Blue Shift Friday night. And then next week, we'll have the Digital Archipelago on my channel. We'll also have another episode of Stalin's War coming out, and those will all be uploaded later on to Libsyn and all the other podcast platforms. And then after that, I'll be trying my hardest to get back to writing. I have quite a few things to work on the Substack. I've been a little bit behind on that. So I hope that you all have a wonderful Wednesday, and that our American audience, we all have a great Thanksgiving. And so, yeah, that's what I got going on. Gio, what about you?
Oh, I'm at the trying to get everything done, and next week I'll probably have a solo variety show on Content Minded. And oh, I actually have a small video I have to still edit that I might put out this week too. So on the concept of what was it on again? Um Main character syndrome. There you go. Yeah.
There's a whole Will Wood song about that you could review and break down.
Oh yeah? Nice.
Yeah.
Interesting. But anyways, this has been a great episode. We've covered the news because like we've been off air for a week. So thank you all, everyone. God bless. Goodbye. Too sweet.
See you, gents.